Why would the supreme elders of the Azure Cloud sect spare a thought for a disciple of the Joyful Union sect, especially one who stays in perennial seclusion and never shows himself to others? What did they say? Fang Chen asked. Liu Qingxian thought hard for a long time, then said, I forgot. I only thought the name sounded pleasant, and it was taken from a poem, so I have a faint impression of it. I don't remember much else. A poem? Fang Chen thought for a moment, and quickly figured out which poem it was. The moon over the vast sea guild's teardrop, bearing pearls, the sun above Lanshan coaxes mist from hidden jade. This must be the poem in question. At first listen, the name Yu Mingzhu does not sound particularly pleasing, even a bit gaudy and vulgar, but when paired with this verse, it carries a faint romantic aura. It's fine if you don't remember. It's probably nothing important anyway, Fang Chen said. Liu Qingxian nodded, hesitated for a moment, then said, She values you more than her own life, so treat her well in the future. If I get the chance, I would also like to get to know her properly. Fang Chen was stunned for a moment. Wait, shouldn't Liu Qingxian be jealous, just like she was a moment ago? He had no idea what Liu Qingxian was really thinking. Though I have confessed my feelings to Xiao Chen, and he has accepted them, Liu Ruxu is an obstacle I cannot get around. She is his real fiancée. If she does not accept me, I will never be able to be with Fang Chen openly and rightfully. But rather than bow my head to her, I might as well join forces with this Yu Mingzhu. I don't know if it will work, but it is better than fighting this battle alone. Soon, the two arrived in front of the command post, where Nangong Ziyuan was busy registering the task completion status of returning disciples. Perhaps because of Fang Chen's earlier criticism, her temper had indeed calmed down a great deal. Just as Fang Chen was about to ride Little White forward, a murderous 10 tall spirit beast charged aggressively past Little White, its enormous hooves nearly knocking the 3 tall Little White to the ground. Damned bastard, are you blind? Little White cursed furiously. Liu Qingxian glanced at the owner of the spirit beast and quickly said, "SHHH, be quiet." Fang Chen looked over in confusion and spotted an exceptionally burly, cold-faced young man with faint golden skin. He carried a zhang, long Fangshan halberd on his back, his bare upper body boasting sharply defined, chiseled muscle lines. Bulging muscles covered every inch of his frame, brimming with explosive power, giving the visual impression of a humanoid, ferocious beast. "He is from the Giant Sect," Fang Chen said. The characteristics of Giant Sect disciples were impossible to miss. Liu Qingxian nodded, a hint of apprehension flashing in her eyes as she said, "Jin Zhongming, the chief disciple of the Giant Sect." She stared at Jin Zhongming's back, biting her red lips slightly, rage simmering in her eyes. "Has he ever harmed you?" Fang Chen noticed her unusual reaction. Liu Qingxian quickly concealed the strange expression on her face, hiding her emotions behind a smile as she said, "Of course not. The Giant Sect and I have always kept to our own lanes." She did not get to say anything more, for Fang Chen had pulled the Gale Pearl from his bosom, the very same Gale Pearl that Zhu Wanzhang had stolen from her. "How did this end up in your hands?" Liu Qingxian snatched it immediately, her eyes shining with the joy of recovering something she had lost. Fang Chen said, "I took it back from Sun Keazong. He claimed you had given it to him." Liu Qingxian immediately said, "That's impossible. He stole it from me." She lowered her head and stuck out her tongue playfully. She continued, "I didn't mean to hide this from you, but I knew if I told you, you would definitely seek justice for me, and that would offend the Giant Sect. The disciples of the Giant Sect are extremely powerful. Leaving Jin Zhongming aside, even Zhu Wanzhang, who ranks below him, is as strong as the chief disciple of any ordinary sect. I want to avenge this wrong myself, Xiao Chen. Focus on your cultivation. These matters are not something you should concern yourself with right now." Fang Chen did not say anything more, and rode Little White to the front of the command post, only to hear waves of shocked exclamations coming from ahead. As expected of Jin Zhongming, he actually completed a Heaven-grade mission. Since the missions were first issued, there have only been 4 Heaven-grade missions total. One was completed by Xia Keoj, and now another has been finished today. I heard that Jin Zhongming's mission this time was to infiltrate the territory guarded by a 5th-layer Golden Core Realm demonic beast to rescue hostages. Though one unfortunately perished, he successfully brought back 4. The mission can be considered a great success. Heaven-grade missions are always accompanied by immense risk. It takes extraordinary courage just to accept one, and incomparably formidable strength to complete it. Scouring the entire lands of the 9 sects, such disciples can be counted on the fingers of one hand. Nangong Ziyuan was also somewhat surprised. Jin Zhongming had been gone for 10 full days, and she had assumed his mission had failed, never expecting he would successfully bring back 4 living hostages. These were all human youths, captured while fighting demonic beasts on the front lines. Though they were not the top elites of various sects like Liu Qingxian's team, they were still rare talents, and the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion attached great importance to their rescue. This matter even alerted Yi Kangyuan inside the camp tent. He came out personally, and a look of relief crossed his face when he saw the 4 slightly injured but alive youths. Jin Zhongming, you have done excellently. Jin Zhongming, who was on the back of his spirit beast, immediately leaped down. He dared not put on airs in front of Yi Kangyuan and cupped his hands in salute. Vice Pavilion Master, Yi overpraises me. This disciple only did his best. Yi Kangyuan praised approvingly, what I only did my best. Charging into the territory guarded by a 5th layer golden core demonic beast to rescue people is not something that can be accomplished by mere effort. With such strength, once you enter the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion for further cultivation in the future, I cannot imagine how far you will go. Jin Zhongming was the first person ever to receive such unreserved praise from the usually stern and unsmiling Yi Kangyuan. Everyone could vaguely tell that Yi Kangyuan seemed to have the intention of taking him as a personal disciple. Zaoyan marked down full merit for him, Yi Kangyuan instructed with a smile. Nangong Zaoyan paused for a moment and said, but Vice Pavilion Master Yi, according to the rules, he was supposed to rescue 5 people, but only saved 4 in reality. The mission completion rate should be counted as 80%. Though Jin Zhongming successfully rescued people, he did not complete the mission satisfactorily. Yi Kangyuan said, do not be overly harsh on others. Merely completing this mission is already extremely difficult. Giving him full merit, it will also serve as encouragement for other disciples. The surrounding, onlooking disciples cheered one after another. Vice Pavilion Master Yi is so magnanimous. Exactly, that Fang Chen guy who took the same heaven raid rescue mission was lucky just to save his own life. Senior brother Jin saved 4 people. How could it be right not to give him full merit? With Vice Pavilion Master Yes order from above and the support of the disciples below, Nangong Zaoyan had no choice but to pick up her pen, preparing to record full merit for him. At that moment, a calm, faint voice rang out, if he gets full merit, then what kind of merit should I get? The crowd was astonished, not because someone dared to challenge Jin Zhongming, but because who had the audacity to compare their mission to Jin Zhongming's. The mission Jin Zhongming carried out was the most dangerous heaven, grade mission, not some earth, grade, let alone mysterious, grade 1. However, when they saw who was coming, everyone was stunned. Fang Chen, that Fang Chen who took the Tai Lake rescue mission. How did he come back? Nangong Zaoyan spotted the familiar Zao eye at first glance, then looked up and saw Fang Chen standing atop it with his arms crossed. She was overjoyed immediately, dropped her pen and ran over quickly. Junior brother Fang, I was worried sick about you. Fang Chen jumped down with a laugh and teased, were you worried about me, or worried about your Ziobai? Nangong Zaoi, and smile faded immediately. You are so ungrateful, taking my kindness for ill intent. But looking at Fang Chen, who was staring at her with a half-smile, she immediately could not keep up the act and said awkwardly, fine, I admit I was very worried about Zaobai, but I was also worried about you, really, I swear. Fang Chen patted her head and said with a smile, don't worry, Zaob. I was perfectly fine with me. Zaob, I was a spirit beast that Nangong Zaoi, and treated as family. How could she not worry about it? Nangong Zaoi unhurriedly examined Zaobai, whom she had not seen for several days, and found that not only was it uninjured, its cultivation realm had even improved by a large margin, faintly, showing signs of breaking through to the 4th layer of Golden Core Realm. Zaobai, you are about to break through, Nangong Zaoi, and said in shock. Given Zaobai's previous progress, it would have taken at least a year to reach the edge of a breakthrough. But after going out with Fang Chen once, it directly showed signs of breaking through as if it had encountered a great fortuitous opportunity. Zaob, I pranced around happily and said, Brother Fang Chen gave me lumps and lumps of good stuff that I can't tell anyone about. That was naturally clam meat, of course, but it had cleverly remembered Fang Chen's words that it could not tell anyone, not even its owner. Nangong Zaoyan was overjoyed. She grabbed Fang Chen's hand and said, Thank you, Junior Brother Fang. Thank you so much, Junior Brother Fang. Her eyes darted around as she said, Next time you go out on a mission, remember to take Zaobai with you. I would never let anyone else borrow Zaobai, but now I'm practically begging you to borrow it more often. Then next time it comes back, it will break through to 4th, layer Golden Core, the time after that, 5th, layer golden core, the time after that, it will break through to nascent soul realm. Then I can rely on a nascent soul spirit beast and live a lazy, carefree life from then on. Fang Chen said half jokingly and half annoyed. I just got back, I haven't even sat down yet, and you're already hoping I go out again. Hurry up and register my mission for me. Only then did Nangong Zayoi and recall the pressing matter at hand, his tone turning concerned as he spoke. By the way, how did your mission go? Did you fail? There is no shame in failure, truth be told. In the few days you were away, this mission has already been upgraded to one reserved for elder-level cultivators. Failure is no disgrace. Returning alive is already a great fortune. It was unknown what new intelligence the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion had suddenly obtained, but they urgently raised that mission to elder level, a rank far beyond the capacity of ordinary disciples. Execute? Jin Zhongming gazed over with sharp, piercing eyes, his aura exuding overwhelming pressure. Do you take issue with my mission? The entire arena fell deathly silent in an instant, and many cast schadenfreude, filled glances toward Fang Chen. Saving lives is a noble cause. What right does he have to spout nonsense? If he is so capable, why did he fail? He should have rescued people from Tai Lake too, even if he brought back just one person. I would accept his criticism of Jin Zhongming. After all, the Tai Lake mission is far more difficult, but he did no such thing. Who knows what is going through his mind, openly questioning credit Jin Zhongming earned for saving lives. Is he not trying to chill the hearts of everyone else who worked hard? Even Nangong Zayoi grew a little anxious. Fang Chen's earlier words were truly offensive, not only provoking Jin Zhongming, but also angering many disciples who had toiled to carry out their missions. Even Yi Kangyuan furrowed his brow slightly. He had held some admiration for Fang Chen previously, for daring to take on the Tai Lake mission, but after hearing those words, he could not help but feel that Fang Chen was far too petty and narrow-minded. He spoke coldly. Then what do you propose we do? The implication behind these words was impossible to Miss Yi Kangyuan, was already angered. How dare Fang Chen question the suggestion of the dignified Vice Pavilion Master? If he was so dissatisfied, he might as well make the decision himself. Fang Chen paid no heed to the chattering disciples, nor did he spare Jin Zhongming a single glance. Instead, he cupped his fists in salute to Yi Kangyuan, then called out to those on Zhao Bai's back, "All of you, come down." Who could be on Zhao Bai's back? Had Fang Chen not gone to carry out the mission alone? Thud, 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 as 5 figures leaped down one after another, and their faces came into clear view, the entire crowd gasped in unison, the sound of sharp intakes of breath echoing across the grounds. Liu Qingxian and Wang Chengjian of Qingyun Sect, Wang Yan of Thousand Forging Sect, Qin Huai of True Thunder Sect, and Wei Sanking of Heavenly Sound Sect. These are the Tai Lake patrol team. All of them are back. All of them were rescued. Thunderous exclamations erupted across the field. Disciples from the Thousand Forging Sect, True Thunder Sect, and Heavenly Sound Sect present surged forward in excitement, letting out cries of joy and surprise. Nangong Zaoyan's jaw dropped in shock. Ah, you rescued all of them. This was an elder-level mission. Did you not encounter any danger? Fang Chen nodded. I encountered a little trouble. Then he cupped his fists in salute to Yi Kangyuan, whose aged face was already twisted with emotion, and said, Vice Pavilion Master Yi, this junior has fulfilled his mission. All missing team members have been brought back safely. Please inspect them, Vice Pavilion Master Yi. Even Yi Kangyuan could barely believe his eyes. As the Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, he was naturally well aware of why this mission had been urgently upgraded to Elder level. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion had received secret intelligence that the Demon Emperor had dispatched a Demon Clan War general to Tai Lake, which was the reason behind the disciples' disappearance. Fang Chen had actually brought everyone back right under the war general's nose. This was nothing short of a miracle. He looked Fang Chen over anew, a broad, delighted smile spreading across his weathered face. Good, very good, as expected of a heroic youth emerging in this era. To think you would bring every single one of them back, unharmed from such a dangerous place. This far exceeds this old man's expectations. Zaoyan, what are you waiting for? Full merit, undisputed full merit. At that moment, he suddenly realized why Fang Chen had taken issue with Jin Zhongming's mission score. If someone like Jin Zhongming, who had completed his mission incompletely, was awarded full merit, then what kind of reward would befit Fang Chen, who had flawlessly completed the rescue mission? Full merit, that would be unfair. Award him extra merit on top of full merit, but that would break the established rules. Only now did he realize that what he had thought was a reward for Jin Zhongming was actually undermining the fairness of the merit system. He immediately rescinded his earlier order, announcing Fang Chen, full merit, Jin Zhongming, 80% merit. No one present raised any objections, for this was the most just outcome possible. It came as no surprise that Fang Chen dared to question Jin Zhongming's score. He was fully qualified to do so. I acted too recklessly just now, so did I. By comparison, Jin Zhongming only deserved 80% of the mission merit. Both had rescued the same number of people, but Fang Chen had faced far greater difficulty. Awarding them equal merit would be a grave injustice. A frigid glint flashed across Jin Zhongming's eyes. The full mission merit that had already been within his grasp was now gone, all because of Fang Chen's interference. An 80% merit rating meant he would only receive 80% of the mission's merit points, but far more importantly, he had been striving to break Xia Keo's record for heavenly grade missions. He had finally completed the feat, but this 80% merit score drastically undermined the credibility of his achievement, leaving it utterly incomparable to Xia Keo's record. "Brat, you seem quite adept at handling missions, don't you?" Jin Zhongming spoke icily. Fang Chen held not a shred of goodwill towards disciples of the Giant Sect, and retorted bluntly, "Better than you." Thud, Jin Zhongming snatched the Fang Chen halberd embedded in the ground and pointed it from afar at Fang Chen. "Is that so? The Heavenly Secret Pavilion's merit ranking will be released tonight. Dare you compete with me?" A look of delight crossed Fang Chen's face. The merit ranking he had awaited for an entire month was finally arriving. He had been waiting to exchange his points for the legendary spatial storage artifact and the Void Lotus. Facing Jin Zhongming's aggressive provocation, Fang Chen appeared utterly calm and unruffled. "You'd better not compete. Go exchange your points for resources properly, and don't go looking for frustration for no reason." While Jin Zhongming had been carrying out Grade 1 missions in Sunset City all along, Fang Chen had not slacked off either. He had successively completed one Grade 3 mission, one Grade 1 mission with 4x merit bonus, and one Grade 2 mission. In terms of merit points, he was in no way inferior to any of the elite cultivators in Sunset City. "Then it's a competition," Jin Zhongming said coldly. "Whoever loses cuts off one of their own hands." All the onlookers were struck with dread. Jin Zhongming was truly ruthless, demanding one of Fang Chen's hands right off the bat. Liu Qingxian stepped forward at once and snapped, "Jin Zhongming, what kind of hero are you bullying my junior brother? How long have you been in Sunset City, and how many days has he been here? You have some nerve challenging him to a competition." This was no competition at all. It was clearly an opportunity to take revenge on Fang Chen, and a deadly, vicious revenge at that. Even with a divine physician present and miraculous elixirs on hand, a severed hand would take 10 days to half a month to heal. Such a long period of inactivity was more than enough to make one miss precious mission opportunities, falling behind their peers permanently with little hope of catching up. Yi Kangyuan raised a hand. He too felt Jin Zhongming had gone too far, but he ultimately said nothing, turning around and entering the military tent. As the local guardian, it was inappropriate for him to interfere too much in conflicts between disciples. Grudges were best settled by the parties involved. As for Fang Chen being at a severe disadvantage, there was nothing to be done about that. Jin Zhongming glanced at her disdainfully and said, "If he knows he's only been here a few days, why doesn't he know to keep his head down and behave? Stay out of matters between him and me, or I'll have to challenge you to a spar again." At those last words, Liu Qingxian's face paled slightly. She clenched her pearly whites tight, her face burning with humiliation. Fang Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. So Jin Zhongming had indeed bullied Liu Qingxian before. In that case, Fang Chen smiled faintly. "I accept the competition. However, I have no interest in your hand. It would be less useful to me than a bare paw I can roast and eat." Jin Zhongming gave a cold chuckle. "Bold. What do you want then?" Fang Chen pointed at the Fang Chen halberd in Jin Zhongming's hand. "That." Jin Zhongming laughed loudly, swinging the Fang Chen halberd in his hand fiercely, leaving a solid black streak in the air, proof that the very space had been sliced apart by the strike. "You have good taste. You recognize this is a high-grade magical artifact. My master personally requested the sect master of the 1,000 refinements sect to forge this peerless divine weapon for me. It weighs a full 1,000 jin. When it strikes a demonic beast, even if the cut doesn't kill it, the impact will." Fang Chen said calmly, "What, are you reluctant to part with it?" Jin Zhongming gave a cold chuckle. "Then what are you putting up as your wager?" "Whatever you want. If you see something you like, you can take it." Fang Chen pointed at the sword and kin he carried on his person. Jin Zhongming shook his head. "I have no interest in your trash." "Let's do this then. If you win, the Fang Chen halberd is yours. If you lose, I will use this Fang Chen halberd to slice off both your hands, both your feet, and that annoying tongue of yours, one cut at a time. Fang Chen shrugged. No problem. Xiao Chen, Liu Qingxian grew anxious. Jin Zhongming has already completed 3 first-rank missions. She could not fathom why Fang Chen, who had only ever carried out logistical missions within the sect's territory, would pick a fight with Jin Zhongming over merit points. Was he not clearly walking into a guaranteed disadvantage? Only 3 first-rank missions. That is even fewer than I expected. Jin Zhongming could barely contain his excitement and spoke at once. Good, we have a deal. Let all junior brothers and sisters of Sunset City bear witness. Whoever goes back on their word shall be scorned by all. For the numerous disciples who had remained on constant high alert, this contest was without a doubt an extremely rare chance to relax. They voiced their agreement one after another, their eyes brimming with anticipation. When they returned to Liu Qingxian's temporary lodging, Fang Chen looked at the dilapidated standalone small courtyard, the lonely thatched outhouse, and the tattered firewood shed and kitchen, and could not help chuckling. The esteemed daughter of the sect master comes to suffer such hardships, truly no easy feat. Yet Liu Qingxian kept glaring at him. Don't change the subject. What on earth were you thinking? Do you not want to stay in Sunset City anymore? Did you find an excuse to leave just because you don't want to see me? By the end of her words, her eyes were filled with mist. It was no fault of hers for overthinking. No formal commitment had been made between her and Fang Chen yet, so she lacked a sense of security and could hardly help imagining the worst possible outcomes. Fang Chen laughed in spite of himself and wrapped his arm generously around her thin, fragrant shoulder. What are you rambling about? If I dared to accept this contest, I naturally have full confidence. How could it be that I don't want to see you? If that were the case, I would never have traveled 1,000 li to rescue you in the first place. Liu Qingxian was moved to her core. Earlier on the square, she had learned that the mission to rescue her had been raised to elder tier, which spoke volumes of the danger involved, yet Fang Chen had still gone without a single moment of hesitation. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let my thoughts run wild. Liu Qingxian leaned her head against his shoulder shyly, her face flushed with embarrassment. Relax, I never fight a battle I am not certain to win. As for you, go eat that piece of clam meat right now to raise your strength as soon as possible. I never want to see you being bullied ever again, he said, his voice thick with tender concern. At the same time, Kong Yuanba listened to the report of a subordinate with a dark, gloomy expression. You say there was a masked young disciple who wielded a purple sword. The subordinate's face was alight with excitement. Yes, according to the description, it is exactly the same as what Sun Keazong reported. It glows with purple light all over, exudes extraordinary spiritual pressure, and is of extremely high rank. That person used it near 10,000 Swords Sect, and was spotted by a disciple who happened to pass by. Bang! Kong Yuanba slammed his palm against the table. He had already been consumed with resentment over the death of the person who had used the nascent soul Jade Talisman, for owning the Jade Talisman did not necessarily mean that Taibu was killed. By him, it was possible that someone had transferred the Jade Talisman to that person, but the wielder of the purple sword is undoubtedly the real culprit. You said he is a disciple, and an extremely powerful elite disciple at that? That is correct, Sect Master. That disciple said that this person's strength is absolutely top tier among the 9 sects. Excited light flickered in Kong Yuanba's eyes. What a stroke of luck. Right now, all elite disciples are gathered in Sunset City, and the merit list will be announced for the first time tonight. He will definitely be present. If I check each and every one of their swords, won't I be able to find the real culprit immediately? He clenched his 5 fingers tightly and spoke with vicious venom. I will finally find you. I don't care who you are. No matter what price I have to pay, you will die a brutal death. The assassination of the Giant Sect's great elder was an unprecedented provocation to the entire sect, and the greatest humiliation the Giant Sect had suffered in its entire history. Both publicly and in secret, the Giant Sect had been mocked countless times by other forces. Now they could finally catch the murderer, carry out public justice upon him, and announce the result to the entire cultivation world. In the rundown courtyard, Fang Chen was cultivating the second form of the 3 pure thunder shadow art, the 5 thunder righteous heaven palm, alone, but had made no progress so far. This was because the requirement for the second form was far harsher than that of the first form, the thunder dragon lightning leg. The amount of thunder power required was 10 times that of the first form. Previously, he had only managed to master the first form with great difficulty by relying on the thunder power of the silver wing thunder bird. Where could he find so much thunder power now? Was he supposed to catch 10 silver wing thunderbirds? Leaving aside how difficult that would be, it was even questionable whether the demon clan had that many silver wing thunderbirds in existence at all. Quick, Liu Qingxian walked out of the room with a face full of joy, exclaiming in surprise, Zhao Chen, I've broken through to the second layer of Golden Core Realm. The clam meat you gave me works even better than the Dragon Saliva pill that boosts Golden Core Realm cultivation. She could barely believe it. It had only been a month since she broke through to the Golden Core Realm, and she had already advanced another layer. Such rapid progress was unheard of. No one would believe it if she told them. Under normal circumstances, a cultivator would need at least half a year to have any chance of breaking through to the next minor layer of the Golden Core Realm. Fang Chen nodded. This was well within his expectations. That meat was an extremely rare divine treasure that could give birth to the heaven-burning clam pearl, so this effect was hardly surprising. Once your realm stabilizes, I will give you another batch, so you can strive to break through to the third layer of the Golden Core Realm within a month. Glancing at the sky, Fang Chen ceased his cultivation and said, Let us go to the square. The merit rankings are about to be announced. His face was full of anticipation, wondering if his accumulated merit would be enough to exchange for a spatial storage artifact from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's treasury. At the square of Sunset City, disciples had arrived long before the sky turned dark. All disciples in the city were present, save for those who had yet to return from ongoing missions. After all, this was the first ever release of the merit rankings, making it an event of extraordinary significance. Liang Feiyan led Ling Gihai and several other elite disciples of the Myriad Sword Sect, waiting in front of the command outpost. Senior Brother Liang, you have been taking on missions non-stop for an entire month, with barely any rest. If you don't take first place on the merit rankings, I will never be convinced. Ling Gi, I said flatteringly. Liang Feiyan shook his head. First place is not that easy to claim. Never mind Zia Keoj, that mission fanatic who works even harder than I do. Jin Zhongming has also not rested for the entire month, and both of them have records of completing heavenly grade missions. You must understand, one heavenly grade mission is worth 4 mystic grade missions. The highest grade mission I have completed to date is only earth grade. Liang Feiyan had a clear understanding of his own strength. First and second place would undoubtedly go to Zia Keoj and Jin Zhongming. As for me, I will likely rank third at most. At that moment, Liang Feiyan spotted Fang Chen and Liu Qingxian approaching from afar, and could not help being slightly startled. Liu Qingxian has returned. Did Fang Chen successfully complete the rescue mission? Several disciples standing behind him who knew the details spoke up. Senior Brother Liang, you haven't heard. Fang Chen not only rescued Liu Qingxian, but the other 4 disciples also returned completely unharmed. Vice Pavilion Master, you praised him greatly and awarded him full merit for the mission. Liang Feiyan was so shocked his jaw dropped. He had previously thought it would be a miracle if Fang Chen even came back alive. Fortunately, the heavenly grade mission he completed this time is only counted for this current month, and will only be reflected on the next merit ranking release. Otherwise, I might not be able to hold onto my third place position this time. Ling Gihai did not agree with this assessment, saying, Senior Brother Liang, are you overestimating him too much? As far as I know, this guy was only doing logistics missions before, and his earliest missions were even tier 3. That goes to show his strength is extremely limited. Ling Gihai naturally remembered Fang Chen very well. Back in Azure Cloud City, Fang Chen had publicly humiliated him and made him lose face. Liang Feiyan was shocked once again. What did you say? He used to take tier 3 missions. Could it be that he offended some important figure in the Azure Cloud Sect, and they are deliberately suppressing him? Thinking of the scene where Fang Chen easily defeated Xiao Bai, Liang Feiyan could not help twitching the corners of his mouth. It was fortunate that Fang Chen had been suppressed, otherwise his third place position would definitely be impossible to keep. Composing himself, he greeted from a distance Junior Brother Fang. Hearing this, Fang Chen walked over to him. Liu Qingxian was stunned. You know, the chief disciple of the Myriad Sword Sect. She was greatly surprised. Liang Feiyan was a genuine top-tier disciple, whose strength ranked among the top 5 of his generation across the entire lands of the 9 sects. When had Fang Chen ever gotten to know such a prominent figure? We are barely friends, I suppose, Fang Chen replied. Liu Qingxian looked bewildered. Barely friends, but judging from Liang Feiyan's warm smile, he seemed to fully acknowledge Fang Chen as a friend. As the two walked over, Liang Feiyan said in admiration, as expected of you, you actually managed to complete that kind of mission. Even I would not dare to take it on, let alone finish it. Fang Chen cupped his hands in salute. Senior Brother Liang praises me too highly. It was merely good fortune. Liang Feiyan felt the urge to punch him. This modesty was simply too much. Even Zia Keoj had hesitated repeatedly before finally giving up on that mission. How could luck alone be enough to complete it? Ling Gihai let out a disdainful snort. At least you have enough self-awareness to know it was just luck. As soon as those words left his mouth, Liang Feiyan's expression turned stern instantly. He turned his head and barked, "Insolent! How dare you speak to junior brother Fang like that?" He himself was not even a match for Fang Chen's strength. Was Ling Gihai out of his mind to offend someone for no reason? If Fang Chen truly became enraged, he would not be able to protect Ling Gihai at all. Ling Gihai was given a fright. Liang Feiyan was usually very gentle and rarely lost his temper. He quickly apologized. "I am sorry, junior brother Fang." Liang Feiyan snorted. "If you dare show disrespect to junior brother Fang again, I will be the first to punish you." Then he cupped his hands towards Fang Chen with an apologetic expression, saying, "Junior brother Fang, a great man does not bear grudges against petty people. Please do not lower yourself to argue with him." Fang Chen glanced at Ling Gihai, naturally having no patience to waste words on such a person. He nodded slightly, then struck up a casual conversation with Liang Feiyan. Liu Qingxian was secretly astonished what was going on. Ling Gihai was the second, ranked super elite of Myriad Sword Sect, yet Liang Feiyan did not defend him, but instead scolded him, as if terrified of offending Fang Chen. But Fang Chen was only at the Foundation establishment realm. Was this truly necessary? Ling Gihai was also filled with bitter resentment. Had the senior brother lost his mind? He was treating himself so harshly for the sake of a useless trash without a spiritual root. "Junior brother Fang, you are here too." When Hua Xiangchen and Lai Shiqian spotted Fang Chen from afar, they hurried over at once. Lai Shiqian in particular approached with a face full of delight, saying, "Congratulations, junior brother Fang, on completing the 4th heaven grade mission in all recorded history." Fang Chen looked at her in surprise. "You are still here. Was your qualification to carry out missions not revoked?" Lai Shiqian said sheepishly, "The sect master took me to plead for mercy from Vice Pavilion Master Yi. I repented sincerely, so Vice Pavilion Master Yi gave me a probationary punishment. I can carry out missions for now, but if I act arrogant and willful again, my qualification will be completely revoked. Junior brother Fang, you do not object to this, right?" she asked somewhat nervously. Fang Chen smiled faintly. "That is for the best. If you take more care of the weak in the future, Vice Pavilion Master, you will surely take notice and pardon you fully." She had already been tied up and kowtowed to apologize to him twice, so Fang Chen had no intention of holding a grudge any longer. Lai Shiqian's eyes lit up, and she nodded repeatedly. I will follow every word junior brother Fang says." Standing to the side, Liu Qingxian's face was full of doubt. What was happening? If her memory served her right, this Lai Shiqian was not an easy person to get along with. When she first arrived at Sunset City, she had even gotten into a conflict with this woman. Only then did Lai Shiqian notice that Liu Qingxian was also present, so she quickly apologized as well. "Junior sister Liu, I was very rude to you before. I beg you to overlook the faults of a petty person like me and forgive your senior sister." For a moment, Liu Qingxian could not help but doubt if the person in front of her was really that arrogant and domineering Lai Shiqian. She actually apologized to her. Liu Qingxian said in a confused daze, "Oh, it's fine. All that is in the past." At this moment, Hua Xiangchen also hurried over. He gave a simple nod to Liang Feiyan, then cupped his fists in salute to Fang Chen. "Junior brother Fang, you are the most talked-about person in Sunset City now. Congratulations." Liu Qingxian was truly dumbfounded now. The senior brother of Giant Sect was actually taking the initiative to show goodwill to Fang Chen. What was so special about Fang Chen that they were all being so polite to him? But this was far from over. As soon as Fang Chen finished exchanging pleasantries, Zai Liushu, a handsome young man in luxurious robes, also showed a polite smile. "Junior brother Fang, the moment I arrived in Sunset City, I heard people talking about your name everywhere. This senior brother is truly envious." Liu Qingxian's mind went completely blank. The chief disciple of the joyous sect too. What was wrong with all of them? What left her even more stupefied was that amidst waves of exclamations, Jin Zhongming, who rarely smiled, was beaming all over his face as he walked alongside an incredibly beautiful female disciple, with a calm, unsmiling expression. "Junior sister Zia, you have completed another heaven grade mission. You are not leaving me even the slightest chance to catch up, are you?" he said with a bitter smile. He had thought he could compete on equal footing with Zia Keoj, who would have known that Zia Keoj would complete yet another heaven raid mission, completely widening the gap between them. Zia Keoj shook her head gently. "Until the very end, no one can know who will win and who will lose." Suddenly, as she raised her eyes, she noticed that a crowd was gathered, 3 layers deep in the center of the square. From experience, this meant some important, high-status disciple was present, and all the other disciples were unconsciously gathering around them as the center. She was extremely uncomfortable in such crowded settings, and was just about to find a quiet corner, when she suddenly realized that the center of all the disciples' attention was none other than Fang Chen. Her crystal, clear eyes immediately lit up. Leaving Jin Zhongming behind with his gradually stiffening smile, she lifted the hem of her skirt and ran over joyfully, calling out like a little oriole, Martial Uncle, you are back." Liu Qingxian could barely believe her own eyes. Xia Keoj, the #1 genius of the entire Nine Sects domain, was acting this intimately with Fang Chen. Liu Qingxian felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. Fang Chen's enormous transformation made her fall into deep self-doubt. Did I really only spend 10 days sealed in ice, not a whole year? She felt the surreal sense of separation, as if a single day spent in a cultivation cave corresponded to 1,000 years passing in the mortal world. When had Fang Chen become such a dazzling, impressive figure? Jin Zhongming was equally unable to believe what he was seeing. Watching Fang Chen surrounded in the center by elite disciples like Xia Keoj, Liang Feiyan, Hua Xiangchen, Lai Shiqian, Zai Liushu, and others like the moon ringed by a myriad of stars, he found the sight unbearably jarring. At every past event, in every situation, that was the position where he stood. When had some unknown little nobody from Giant Sect dared to steal the status that rightfully belonged to him? He dragged his Fang Chen halberd as he strode over, the piercing, scraping sound cutting off everyone's casual conversation. Only Xia Keoj paid no heed to the tense atmosphere, still asking Fang Chen with great enthusiasm about his trip to Tai. Meanwhile, Liang Feiyan and the others grew visibly uneasy the moment they spotted Jin Zhongming's openly hostile demeanor. Disciples of the Giant Sect are notoriously domineering by nature, and Jin Zhongming, as their chief disciple, was even more so. No one present dared to underestimate him. "Boy, you seem to be in quite a fine mood." Jin Zhongming stormed over, his aura blazing with unbridled aggression. Fang Chen replied calmly, "It would be even finer if you would get far away from me." The Fang Chen halberd in his grip emitted a low tremor, caused by the force of Jin Zhongming's tightening fingers. He narrowed his eyes, staring fixedly at Fang Chen like a wild beast, a ferocious tiger ready to pounce and tear its prey apart at any moment, sending a ripple of cold unease through everyone present. Liang Feiyan braced himself and spoke up. "Brother Jin, let us resolve this calmly. If there is some misunderstanding between you and junior brother Fang, I will host a gathering for us all to clear the air. What say you?" Liang Feiyan was well known for being widely liked among the younger generation of cultivators, so his words usually carried a fair amount of weight. Jin Zhongming glanced at him disdainfully. "What, you want to stand up for him? Then take his place. Have all 4 of your limbs broken and your tongue cut out." Liang Feiyan was left utterly humiliated. Jin Zhongming had always been relatively polite to him in the past, so he was shocked that the man would dismiss his face so completely today. Could there be some irreconcilable grudge between Jin Zhongming and Fang Chen? "Junior brother Fang, what exactly happened between you two?" Liang Feiyan asked in a low, urgent voice. Fang Chen replied flatly, "Nothing much. He just cannot afford to lose, that is all." Jin Zhongming's face turned frosty. He lifted his Fang Chen halberd and rested the sharp blade against Fang Chen's neck, growling, "Who did you say cannot afford to lose? You just got lucky, did not run into any real danger, and barely scraped through that rescue mission. If you had drawn the mission I was assigned, your pathetic little life would have been long gone. How dare you say I cannot afford to lose?" "Ridiculous!" Staring at the peerlessly sharp Fang Chen halberd pressed against Fang Chen's neck, everyone present's hearts leaped into their throats, and they rushed to persuade Jin Zhongming to calm down and not harm Fang Chen. Only Fang Chen showed not a hint of nervousness. He clamped the Fang Chen halberd between 2 fingers, examining it with great interest. It was ice, gold to the touch, clearly forged from cold iron mixed with rare special materials, and extremely heavy for its size. It was an excellent weapon. He decided he would claim it for himself. Then he flicked it with a single finger, and the 1,000 Jin heavy Fang Chen halberd was effortlessly knocked aside. Caught completely off guard, Jin Zhongming nearly lost his grip on his weapon entirely. He was filled with equal parts shock and rage. He was shocked that Fang Chen, who looked thin and frail, possessed such monstrous strength, and furious that he had almost been publicly humiliated in front of so many onlookers. He was just about to fly into a violent rage. Several figures emerged in succession from the command post. Yi Kangyuan walked out first, followed closely by 2 powerful cultivators wearing the robes of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, 1 man and 1 woman, both standing half a step behind Yi Kangyuan. A sign of respect. The moment Yi Kangyuan appeared, the entire venue fell silent, as if boiling water had been instantly doused with a block of ice, the previous chaos vanishing completely in the blink of an eye. Yi Kangyuan spoke aloud. "Let me introduce you all. These two are commissioners dispatched by the Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, here to announce last month's merit leaderboard and oversee reward exchanges. This is Commissioner Luo Dongcheng, and this is Commissioner Lin Yuheng." All the disciples present stared at Luo Dongcheng with eyes full of curiosity. He held a bright yellow scroll reinforced with sealing runes in both hands. There was no doubt that this was the long-awaited merit leaderboard everyone had been anticipating. Luo Dongcheng stepped forward at once, a polite smile on his face as he said, "A total of 451 disciples completed missions last month. For the sake of time, I will only announce the names of the top 10 disciples. Those whose names are not called may check the full leaderboard posted on the notice board later." Liang Feiyin took a deep breath. The moment of truth had finally arrived. The 9 sects have always competed fiercely with one another, but never before have all their top elites gathered in one place, vying to complete missions for merit. This leaderboard may appear to only rank individual disciples, but in truth, it is a contest between the 9 sects themselves. Whichever sect's disciples perform better on the list will bring immense glory to their sect. Thus, it is less a personal ranking than a sect competition leaderboard. The Giant Sect, the Supreme Sect, and the Myriad Sword Sect have long been known as the 3 upper sects. If their disciples perform poorly, they will easily become the laughingstock of the other 6 sects. However, Liang Feiyin was full of confidence. Among all disciples of the 9 sects, save for Xia Keoj and Jin Zhongming, there was almost no one who could surpass his rank. Third place was as good as his. Rip! As Luo Dongcheng tore the seal asunder, the list personally ranked by the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master, which no mortal had ever laid eyes on ahead of time, was unveiled before all present for the first time in history. Elite disciples such as Liang Feiyin and Zai Liashu were naturally on tenterhooks, while those who knew they had no hope of making the top 10 were far more relaxed, their brows dancing with excitement as they lowered their heads to speculate on the rankings. Someone called out in a rowdy tone, Come, place your bets now, let us guess the rankings. I wager the top 3 spots will all go to the 3 Grand Supreme Sects. If I lose, all my spirit crystals are yours. If I win, you can give me whatever you see fit. Heh. Another person scoffed in disdain. Do you think I run a charity hall? The top 3 rankings don't even need guessing. Who else could take them besides the 3 Grand Supreme Sects? Let us wager on the remaining 7 spots instead. The top 3 positions were considered undisputed by all present. The real point of interest lay in the later rankings, as everyone waited to see how many spots the other 6 sects could claim for themselves. Xia Keoj remained tranquil and silent, glancing at the ranking list from time to time before shifting his gaze to Fang Chen, as if he cared nothing for his own position on the rankings. Jin Zhongming crossed his arms over his chest, exuding a towering, imposing aura and boundless self-confidence. He was as steady as Mount Tai in the 2nd place ranking, and no one could contest the position with him. He too glanced at Fang Chen from time to time, his gaze lingering specifically on the latter's limbs, as if he was already contemplating where to strike first when they fought. The list was fully unfurled, and Luo Dongcheng fixed his gaze on the 10th place, announcing loudly, 10th place, Hua Xiangchen. 3 first-rank Mystic Tier tasks completed successfully, 1 first-rank Mystic Tier task failed, total merit points, 300. The moment this ranking was announced, all the disciples present frowned, unable to believe the result. That can't be right. Hua Xiangchen's ranking is far too low. He only got 10th. Anyone who can complete 3 first-rank tasks deserves a spot in the top 6 at the very least. Hua Xiangchen was also greatly astonished. The identities of Sunset City's elite disciples and how many tasks they had completed were no secret. By all rights, his results should have landed him in the top few positions. So how had he barely scraped into the top 10? This massive discrepancy left him unable to accept the result for a long moment. Luo Dongcheng continued immediately. 9th place, Liu Qingxian. 3 first-rank Mystic Tier tasks completed successfully. 1 first-rank Earth Tier task failed. Total merit points, 300. This announcement did not stir much commotion. Everyone had seen with their own eyes how desperately Liu Qingxian had worked ever since arriving at Sunset City. The reason she ranked above Hua Xiangchen despite having the same merit points was that her failed task was the Tai Hu Patrol, an Earth Tier mission, so her ranking was higher. Her results were well-deserved, matching every ounce of effort she had poured in, and there was no room for dispute. For a newly advanced Golden Core realm female disciple to outrank the long-established Golden Core cultivator, Hua Xiangchen was an incredible feat by any standard. Liu Qingxian's eyes reddened with emotion. A full month of grueling effort had finally paid off, and she had secured a spot for the Giant Sect ahead of time, even if it was a shame her ranking was not higher. Fang Chen smiled and said, "Congratulations, senior sister. Every member of the Giant Sect is proud of you." Liu Qingxian nodded happily through her tears. Jin Zhongming looked on with disdain, sneering, "You're this overjoyed just for getting 9th place. How very impressive. Even my junior brother ranks far higher than you." No sooner had his voice fallen than Luo Dongcheng announced, 8th place, Zhu Wanzhong, 3 first, rank mystic tier tasks completed successfully, 1 second, rank task completed successfully. Jin Zhongming's eyes nearly bulged out of his head. He cried out in shock, 8th, how is that possible? It was not just him who was stunned. All the disciples present erupted into an uproar. That can't be right, the list is getting more and more absurd. That's Zhu Wanzhong, one of the top 5 powerhouses among all the 9 sects. How can he only be 8th? There must be some mistake. Liang Feiyan and Zai Liashu also wore stunned expressions on their faces. Zai Liashu said in a daze, "It's no surprise I didn't make the top 10. I arrived at Sunset City late, and I failed a first rank task in the sect territory before coming here. But Zhu Wanzhong has no such excuse. This makes no sense." Liang Feiyan was also thoroughly perplexed. What on earth was happening? Who were the people ranked so high that they had pushed all these formidable cultivators nearly out of the top 10? Could they have pushed me down the rankings too? He joked half seriously. Zai Liashu laughed bitterly. "Stop jesting, brother Liang. No one could possibly shake your hold on the 3rd place position." Hua Xianchen added with a gloomy expression, "Brother Liang, stop mocking me. I had many shortcomings in the tasks I completed this time, so it's no surprise I was overtaken by these dark horses. But it would be absolutely absurd for any of them to surpass you. After all, your battle achievements are exceptionally illustrious, and almost no one has ever heard of anyone being able to outperform you." Liang Feiyan smiled faintly. He had only been making a joke just now. If he really was pushed that far down the rankings, he would have no face to show to anyone, and might as well bash his head against a rock and die. Luo Dongcheng announced once more, 7th place, Liang Feiyan, 2 first, rank mystic tier tasks completed. Total merit points, 400. What this time? The crowd erupted into complete and utter chaos. The strange rankings before could be overlooked, but Liang Feiyan had not only failed to enter the top 3, he had plummeted all the way to 7th place. Who could possibly accept this? There must be a mistake. How is this possible? He has 400 merit points. No one could possibly surpass him besides Xia Keoj and Jin Zhongming. Liang Feiyan staggered back a step. His offhand joke had become a grim reality. He really had been pushed down the rankings, and to such a low position at that. He clenched his fists tightly, unable to accept this result no matter how he tried. Even Yi Kangyuan's gaze flickered, and a look of astonishment crossed his face. He was the one in charge of this region, and he knew every disciple's strength and task completion rate like the back of his hand. Even if Liang Feiyan could not make the top 3, he should have easily made the top 5, yet he had fallen all the way to 7th. He turned his head and stared fixedly at the ranking list. A spark of hope reignited in Liang Feiyan's chest. Could they have misread the ranking just now? But after Yi Kangyuan finished examining the list, Yi Kangyuan said in a solemn tone, "The rankings are not wrong. All of you remain calm and do not act rashly. Wait until all the rankings have been announced, then you may raise any questions you have." Liang Feiyan's heart plummeted violently, shattering into countless shards. His vision swam with darkness and his body staggered unsteadily. Fortunately, Fang Chen noticed his state in time and steadied him, otherwise he would have fainted in public and become a universal laughingstock. Liang Feiyan's face was deathly pale, and he whispered gratefully, "Thank you, thank you." His voice was hoarse, as if something was lodged in his throat. Jin Zhongming witnessed the scene and scoffed in disdain. What a useless wretch. He can't even withstand this trivial blow. Liang Feiyan gritted his teeth. "What are you so arrogant about? Watch you end up suffering the same fate as me. How dare he mock me at a time like this? What an insufferable cur." Jin Zhongming held his Fang Chen halberd in his arms, standing tall with his legs apart, exuding boundless, unshakable confidence from his very core. He said coolly, "Rest easy, I am nothing like you." No sooner had the words left his mouth, Luo Dongcheng announced another ranking aloud, 6th place. Jin Zhongming completed 5 first-tier mystic grade missions, total merit points 500. What? If Liang Feiyan's ranking had caused a massive commotion, Jin Zhongming's ranking triggered a cataclysmic uproar among the assembled crowd. 6th place, Jin Zhongming. That's utter rubbish. Him in 6th place. What preposterous joke is this? If even the onlookers were this shaken, one could only imagine the shock of the supremely confident Jin Zhongming himself. With a thunderous crash, the Fang Chen halberd in his arms slammed heavily onto the ground. His tiger-like pupils constricted to the size of fine needlepoints. He gasped sharply, roaring in disbelief. Who did you say is 6th? Is that even possible? Do any of you dare believe such nonsense? Me, Jin Zhongming, in 6th place? What absurd, heaven-defying joke is this? Yi Kangyuan's expression shifted drastically at his outburst, and he snapped sternly, "Silence. This ranking list was personally compiled by the Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Questioning the list is tantamount to questioning the supreme authority of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master, do you understand?" Yet in his own heart, massive waves of shock were also roiling. Jin Zhongming being placed 6th was something he had never even fathomed in his wildest dreams. He glanced sideways at the list once more, shook his head and said, "The ranking is correct. I repeat, remain calm and patient. Once all rankings are announced, you will all be given ample opportunity to raise your queries." But no one could remain composed. The undisputed, peerless powerhouse had actually been relegated to 6th place. Liang Feiyan had originally intended to mock Jin Zhongming for his comeuppance, but he could not bring himself to laugh at all. This result was simply far too earth-shattering. Just who are the people ranked above us? Is it possible that some sect has been secretly raising a peerless prodigy hidden from the world all this time? Moments later, Liu Dongcheng announced a name that plunged the entire venue into dead, suffocating silence. 5th place, Qin Ke. Completed 1 first, tier heaven grade mission, and 6 second, tier missions, total merit points, 520. The entire venue fell deathly quiet. Everyone exchanged confused glances, their faces filled with utter bewilderment. Who is Qin Ke? Is there such a figure among the elite disciples of the 9 great sects? And she actually successfully completed a heaven grade mission. Where in the world did this peerless powerhouse emerge from? Up until now, only Xia Keoj, Jin Zhongming, and the unusually fortunate Fang Chen had ever completed a heaven grade mission. Just who is this woman? At this moment, Liang Feiyan froze for a moment and spoke in an uncertain tone. "My myriad sword sect does have a junior sister named Qin Ke, but she is only at the 6th layer of the foundation. Establishment realm, it seems impossible that she is this powerful Qin Ke. 5th layer of the foundation establishment realm, that definitely cannot be her." Yi Kangyuan's eyebrows twitched. He searched his memory carefully, and no disciple named Qin Ke had ever appeared in Sunset City. He could not help but turn his gaze to Qin Ke's profile attached behind the ranking list. After reading the information, his expression grew even more odd, and he said slowly, after a moment of solemn contemplation, "This disciple is indeed from the Myriad Sword sect." Liang Feiyan's eyes bulged wide in shock. It's really junior sister Qin Ke from my 10,000 Swords sect. There must be a mistake. How could it be her? Ordinary disciples like Qin Ke were a dime a dozen in the 10,000 Swords sect, and Liang Feiyan would never spare them even a passing glance on normal days. Yet now he was being told that this very Qin Ke had kicked him, the lofty chief disciple of the 10,000 Swords sect, straight down to 7th place. Zai Liushu's eyes widened as he spoke. "Brother Liang, are you certain that junior sister Qin of your sect is not some supremely talented disciple raised in secret, completing a heaven-grade task? How could a cultivator at the 6th level of the foundation establishment realm possibly pull off such a feat?" Liang Feiyan had never expected a casual joke would land squarely on his own head. He hastily replied, "If the 10,000 Swords sect had any disciples trained in secret, how could I, as its chief disciple, be completely unaware? This junior sister Qin is truly just a very, very ordinary female disciple." Everyone was stunned. They had assumed that the figure who had pushed so many renowned disciples of the current generation down the rankings would be some peerless powerhouse, only to find it was a completely unknown, low-ranking disciple. Only Fang Chen touched his nose guiltily, for he alone knew the full truth behind how Qin Ke had completed that heaven-grade task. Liu Dongcheng continued reading aloud. 4th place, Chu Xingmeng, 1 heaven, grade task 80, 6 level 2 tasks, 2 level 3 tasks, total score 530 merit points. The crowd was numb with shock, another name they had never heard of before. Which sect did this one belong to? Don't tell them she was yet another so-called ordinary disciple. Now it was Hua, Xianxin's turn to be dumbfounded. He spoke weakly. "If no other sect has a disciple named Chu Xingmeng, then she should be a new disciple of my Grand Supreme sect. Her cultivation is even lower than Qin Ke's, at the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment realm." The entire venue fell silent. Everyone felt slightly numb. Today's ranking list was so uncanny that none could find the words to describe it. Liu Dongcheng went on speaking. Third place, Yi Lingxing, 1 heaven, grade task 7 level 2 tasks, total score 540 merit points. Many people rubbed their foreheads in relief. Finally, someone with a measure of fame. Yi Lingxing was a disciple of the Spirit Beast sect. Though she was not the chief disciple, she had reached the 8th level of the Foundation establishment realm. But even so, she had absolutely no business being in third place, right? Even Liu Qingxian found this hard to comprehend. She asked Xiao Chen, what is going on with these 3 women, with their strength? How could each of them have completed a heaven grade task? Fang Chen replied guiltily, perhaps someone brought them along to complete the tasks. Jin Zhongming, Liang Feiyan, and the rest of the assembled disciples all held back a bellyful of raging fury. Hurry up and finish reading. Let's see what other ordinary disciples are on the list. Once you're done, we'll settle all these matters properly. No one was convinced by these 3 women, let alone believed that they were capable of completing heaven grade tasks on their own. Liang Feiyan's face was also dark with anger. As things stand now, only Xia Keo's position is secure. With her absolute strength, none of these ridiculous tricks can touch her. Hua Xiangchen laughed bitterly. Last month, Xia Keo completed 1 heaven grade task, plus several earth, grade and mystic grade tasks, who could possibly shake her position. Yet no sooner had he finished speaking than Liu Dongcheng read out her name. Second place, Xia Keo, 1 heaven grade task, 2 level 1 tasks, total score 800 merit points. The entire venue fell dead silent once more. This staggering volume of completed tasks stood in stark contrast to her second place ranking. With 800 merit points, she was far ahead of the third place's score of just over 500. Yet she had only landed in second place. This immediately triggered a raging uproar. Xia Keoj, the number 1 heaven's pride of the Nine Sects domain, with 800 merit points, and you're telling us she's only in second place. Is this ranking list a farce? It's utterly chaotic and has no credibility whatsoever. The disciples completely erupted in fury. Even with Yi Kangyuan and the 2 heavenly secret pavilion commissioners present, they could no longer contain their indignation and directly slammed the ranking list's total lack of credibility. Liu Dongcheng's expression shifted. He had never expected that releasing the ranking list would spark public outrage. He cast an inquiring gaze at Yi Kangyuan beside him. Vice Pavilion Master Yi, shall I continue reading? Yi Kangyuan let out a cold snort. Read. The Pavilion Master personally arranged these rankings. How could there be any mistake? All doubts will be settled in a public confrontation right here. With his firm declaration, Liu Dongcheng had no more doubts. First place, the crowd instantly fell silent, everyone gritting their teeth. They all wanted to see who had the qualifications to surpass Xia Keoj and stand above all the heavens prides of the Nine Sects domain. Fang Chen, as the name was read out, a tsunami of shocked exclamations swept across the vast square. Who Fang Chen from Azure Cloud Sect, that Fang Chen, the disciple with no spirit root, he's first place. This is the most absurd farce in the world. How dare he take first place? Countless furious gazes converged on Fang Chen. Without a doubt, they automatically assumed that Fang Chen had cheated. Liang Feiyan's mouth opened and closed. He wanted to believe Fang Chen, but he simply could not accept that Fang Chen had taken first place. Liu Qingxian froze for a moment. Xiao Chen, this Fang Chen is you. Even someone who was right by his side could not believe such an astounding ranking. Jin Zhongming laughed in a fit of rage. Fang Chen in first place, then am I not a complete laughingstock? If this matter is not clarified today, I, Jin Zhongming, will leave Sunset City permanently. To hell with the beast tide, to hell with any cataclysm that may befall the world. All of it can go rot. Countless disciples wore expressions of deep grief and indignation. They had risked life and death, spilled blood, and sacrificed themselves on the front lines, only to find their hard-earned fruits of victory stolen by a few people pulling strings. Who would ever be willing to lay down their lives for such a farce of a war? Liu Dongcheng's heart trembled, and he forced himself to remain composed as he spoke. 2 heaven grade missions, 1 tier 3 mission, total merit points 825. What? 2 heaven grade missions? The crowd grew even more enraged. Was this not utter, absurd nonsense? Up to this very day, there have only been 5 heaven grade missions in total. If Fang Chen alone completed 2 of them, I will chop my own head off and let him kick it like a ball. As public resentment seethed, Yi Kangyuan exuded awe-inspiring dignity even without anger, and thundered, "What is all this racket? I will have Fang Chen explain the full situation so that every last one of you is fully convinced." Though his words sounded firm and decisive, in reality, he had not the slightest shred of confidence. Fang Chen completing 2 heaven raid missions alone last month, that was simply too absurd and unheard of to believe. Could the Pavilion Master truly have pulled strings for this boy? If this matter was not resolved clearly today, it would likely trigger a full mutiny, leading to catastrophic consequences. He stared at Fang Chen with a solemn expression. The crowd holds deep doubts regarding your ranking. Do you dare to respond to their questions? Fang Chen sighed. The otherwise orderly merit list release ceremony had devolved into such chaos, he had no choice but to lay all the facts out in the open. He immediately leaped, landing lightly on the back of a 30-foot, all-spirit beast, and spoke from his lofty vantage point. Since all of you doubt me, I will explain it to you. The one who said he would chop off his head for me to kick like a ball earlier, prepare your worthless neck. His tone was icy, permeated with faint, sharp killing intent. I have completed 2 critical missions. The first, escorting the 1,000 live vultures critical to the entire battle situation to the Western Front battlefield of the Giant Sect. Tell me loudly, what grade is this mission? The enraged crowd was instantly stunned, most of the fury blazing in their eyes, extinguished immediately. Escorting the 1,000 live vultures was indeed a heaven-grade mission. I heard that the cultivator who carried out this mission was attacked by a 5th-layer Golden Core Realm Silver Winged Thunderbird mid-journey, yet still successfully delivered all the 1,000 vultures unharmed. Being targeted by a Silver Winged Thunderbird and still completing such a high-stakes mission is nothing short of a miracle. So that person was Fang Chen. It seemed they had gravely misunderstood him. As part of the truth was revealed, many of those who had shouted the loudest accusations earlier fell silent one after another. Jin Zhongming was taken aback. Fang Chen had actually completed a heaven-grade mission, but he still could not accept the result and snapped, "That is only one. I refuse to believe you could complete 2 heaven-grade missions." Fang Chen glanced at him coldly and said, "The second mission, interrogating the golden clawed iron wolf imprisoned in the dungeon of the Giant Sect. Go on, tell me loudly, what grade is this mission?" An uproar immediately erupted among the crowd. What? He completed the mission to interrogate the golden clawed iron wolf. Many cultivators had taken this mission and failed. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion was so desperate that they raised its grade from Mystic Tier all the way up to Heaven Tier, yet no one succeeded. They were finally prepared to abandon assigning it to ordinary disciples and hand it over to the sect elders to complete instead. It was actually completed by Fang Chen. That being the case, Fang Chen had truly completed 2 heaven-grade missions, so his first-place ranking was completely and utterly undisputed. The turbulent crowd of disciples that had been roaring in outrage, shouting about unfairness and vowing to leave Sunset City just moments earlier, was as if doused with a bucket of icy water. All of them wore awkward, sheepish expressions, looked at each other in silence, and did not utter a single sound. Fang Chen stared at them coldly. "Where is the man who said he would give me his head to kick like a ball earlier? Step forward and keep your promise." Under the gaze of countless pairs of eyes, a hunching disciple from the True Thunder sect who was trying to slip away quickly froze and stammered, Fang Jr. brother, I was only joking with you earlier." Fang Chen darted over in a single flash, lifted his leg and kicked him brutally to the ground, shouting coldly, "A joke. You looked like you wanted to condemn me to eternal damnation earlier, and now you dare call it a joke." As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Chen stomped down hard on his chest. Multiple crisp cracking sounds rang out as he directly shattered the man's ribs. The immense force inflicted severe damage to his internal organs, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood with a gurgle. Immediately after, Fang Chen swept his cold, sharp gaze over the rest of the crowd and said, "Anyone else who wants to doubt my achievements, step forward now." The entire venue fell deathly silent. He was the rightful, undisputed first place, yet they had hysterically denounced him without a single shred of evidence just moments ago. If Fang Chen had not had solid, irrefutable achievements to prove himself, his entire reputation would have been ruined forever. Seeing no one dare speak up, Fang Chen walked up to Jin Zhongming with his hands clasped behind his back and said coldly, "You were the most unconvinced one earlier. Are you convinced now?" Blood vessels bulged all over Jin Zhongming's body, his face twisted with unbridled rage. Fang Chen was actually questioning him aggressively, asking if he submitted, right in front of the elites of the 9 great sects. This was a blatant provocation, a direct insult against him, Jin Zhongming. Jin Zhongming glanced at Yi, Kangyuan, and the 2 Heavenly Secrets Pavilion commissioners present, and forcefully suppressed the overwhelming urge to attack Fang Chen on the spot. Fang Chen shouted sternly, his voice ringing like a clap of thunder, "You are the one who is being insolent. Who allowed you to take my Fang Chen halberd? Hand it over now." Jin Zhongming was stunned, only then abruptly realizing he had forced Fang Chen into a ranking duel. If Fang Chen lost, he would have his limbs severed and tongue cut out. If Jin Zhongming lost, he would hand over his Fang Chen halberd. Jin Zhongming had never even considered the possibility of defeat, for he believed it was impossible. Yet reality was absurd beyond measure. He had not only lost, but lost completely, with no room for prevarication whatsoever. The gap between first place and sixth place, between 800 merit points and 500 merit points, left no room for him to quibble. Jin Zhongming roared furiously, "Fang Chen, do not push things too far. Leave yourself a path of retreat." How could Jin Zhongming bear to hand over the Fang Chen halberd? It was a magical artifact custom, forged for him, boosting his combat prowess by a full 30%. Were he to lose it, his performance on subsequent missions would inevitably plummet drastically. Fang Chen stepped forward, his aura cold and awe-inspiring. "When you demanded I have my limbs severed and tongue cut out, did you ever think to leave me a path of retreat? If you cannot afford lose, don't grovel for a duel and make a fool of yourself." Jin Zhongming was seething with rage, for Fang Chen had humiliated him in front of so many onlookers. But his cowardly, sore loser demeanor had truly drawn countless disdainful glances, especially from the disciples who had witnessed the bet firsthand. This had always been the Giant Sect's disgusting modus operandi. When they thought they could crush someone, they would bully them to the death. The moment they realized they were outmatched, they would either backtrack instantly or brazenly renege on their words. Even their esteemed chief disciple behaved this way. It was truly an eye-opening sight. The crowd murmured amongst themselves, "If you can't afford to lose, why were you so aggressive back then, yelling so loudly about severing limbs and cutting out tongues?" How could Jin Zhongming endure such humiliation? If he did not honor the bet, his reputation would be utterly ruined. He stared at Fang Chen with unbridled fury, snorting coldly. "Who said I want handed over? If you have the skill, take it if you can lift it." Bang! He gripped the Fang Chen halberd and slammed it violently into the ground. The full zhang, long halberd was buried so deep only a small section of the hilt remained visible above the earth. Countless disciples rolled their eyes. He was still being a sore loser. If he was going to hand it over, he should have done so cleanly, instead of deliberately creating a difficulty to embarrass Fang Chen. The Fang Chen halberd already weighed a full 1,000 jin. Anyone who had not trained in body refinement could not even lift it, let alone pull it free from where it was driven into the ground. If Fang Chen tried to take it, he was certain to make a fool of himself. Fang Chen scoffed. With one hand held behind his back, he reached out with the other, wrapped his fingers lightly around the hilt, and pulled with effortless casualty. Xing, the Fang Chen halberd, wreathed in sharp, icy aura, was pulled free in an instant. Immediately after, Fang Chen wielded the Fang Chen halberd in one hand as if it were no heavier than a wooden stick, swinging it with fierce, whistling winds, incredibly nimble and light. There was no sign of its massive weight at all, leaving onlookers wondering if the halberd truly weighed 1,000 jin. They had no way of knowing that after growing accustomed to wielding his purple sword, the weight of the Fang Chen halberd was only slightly heavier than an ordinary sword to Fang Chen. After swinging it a few times, Fang Chen slung the Fang Chen halberd over his shoulder and declared, "From now on, this Fang Chen halberd is mine." Jin Zhongming's pupils contracted violently. Even he could not swing the Fang Chen halberd as effortlessly as Fang Chen, and it would have taken him considerable effort to pull it free from where it was buried deep in the ground. Only then did he realize Fang Chen was a body refinement expert, one who had hidden his true strength all along. He had truly suffered a devastating humiliation. Jin Zhongming roared furiously, "Fang Chen, this debt is far from settled." Jin Zhongming's face was twisted with shame. A lofty chief disciple having his divine treasure won away by an outsider would be the biggest joke across the 9 sects this year. Fang Chen glanced over his shoulder at him. "If you have any other good treasures in the future, you can bring them to duel me too. I accept all comers." Jin Zhongming was so enraged, his lungs felt ready to burst. He spotted Liu Qingxian, her face alight with joy as she came to welcome Fang Chen's triumphant return, and sneered coldly, "Fairy Liu, this senior brother is in a foul mood right now. I wish to spar with you." Spar, it was obviously a petty attempt to take revenge on someone close to Fang Chen. Fang Chen's eyes narrowed, and he said, "Spar, why don't you try facing me instead?" This was how the Giant Sect had bullied Liu Qingxian before, wasn't it? When they saw she had valuable treasures, they would injure her under the pretense of a spar and steal them away. But Liu Qingxian spoke up, "Junior brother, let me handle this myself. Some debts are best settled personally." Jin Zhongming laughed coldly. "Oh, what benefits have you gotten that make you dare to challenge me? It'll just test how much you've improved." As soon as he finished speaking, he channeled his power and launched an attack toward Liu Qingxian. Liu Qingxian drew her spirit sword, gritted her teeth, and charged forward to meet him. The moment they clashed, Jin Zhongming was shocked. "You've broken through to the second layer of Golden Core Realm. How could you advance so quickly?" Liu Qingxian had only broken through to the Golden Core Realm not long ago. Advancing to the next layer should have required a minimum of 6 months of cultivation. Liu Qingxian smiled. "Of course it was Fang Chen who helped me. Her confidence soared, and her moves were sharp and ferocious to the extreme. When she was only at the first layer of Golden Core Realm in the past, she had been completely powerless against Jin Zhongming, who had combat prowess equivalent to the third layer of Golden Core Realm. Now things were different. Every single one of her strikes posed a threat to Jin Zhongming. Coupled with the fact that Jin Zhongming had lost his immensely powerful Fang Chen halberd, his combat prowess was far lower than before. Filled with shock and rage, Jin Zhongming fought for a full 20 exchanges, yet was unable to injure Liu Qingxian as easily as he had in the past. "Enough, stop here. Do not disturb the other disciples exchanging their merit points for resources." Yi Kangyuan stepped forward to halt the spar. Liu Qingxian pulled back gracefully, a bright, vivid smile gracing her features. She had actually managed to trade blows with Jin Zhongming for such a long time. Tipping her head to the side with a grin, she said, "Thanks a lot." Fang Chen said, "There is no need for formalities between us. Hurry up and exchange for your resources." His eyes brimmed with anticipation. He had finally reached this step, and he wondered if he could exchange for a spatial storage artifact, as well as the fabled Nile Lotus. Lin Yuheng cleared her throat, her impassive gaze sweeping across all present. It only paused, flickering with a faint smile, when it landed on Fang Chen, before she resumed scanning the rest of the crowd with her usual cold expression. Only when the entire hall fell dead silent did she speak. "I have brought all resources available for you disciples to select from. Let me state 3 rules in advance. First, some resources are one of a kind. If those ahead exchange for them, those later in line will naturally have no chance to claim them. Second, every resource has a set corresponding merit point value. Apart from merit points, I accept no other forms of payment, so do not attempt any unnecessary antics. Third, exchanges proceed strictly in the order of your ranking. No scrambling or fighting will be tolerated." Hearing this, the disciples with lower rankings immediately grew anxious. The later their turn came, the fewer top-tier resources would remain for them to choose from. Jin Zhongming frowned deeply and said, "Yi Lingxing, Chu Xingmeng, and Qin Ke are not present. Do we truly have to wait for all 3 of them to arrive before we can make our selections?" Lin Yuheng had long anticipated this scenario. After all, it was impossible for every disciple to be present when the rankings were announced, but having 3 of the top 10 absent, as they were today, was extremely uncommon. She replied that is hardly necessary. Those ranked below these 3 may proceed to select the resources they desire. To prevent these 3 from missing out on rare resources they favor, you may still mark one of kind resources as your choice first, but you can only take them away after we inquire about their opinions afterwards and confirm they do not want them. While this is somewhat troublesome, this is the privilege that higher ranked disciples on the merit list are rightfully entitled to. Who among you can guarantee you will definitely be present the next time the rankings are announced? It would be utterly unjust for a first-ranked disciple to return from a mission only to find all valuable resources have been picked clean by those ranked lower, would it not? If that were the case, who would still bother to risk their lives to earn merit? Crowd erupted in uproar. What? Even if we take a fancy to something, we have to wait for those 3 female disciples to decide first. Let alone how infuriating it is to be suppressed by 3 ordinary female disciples. Just waiting for their decision will take at least several days. Who can bear taking a liking to something, but not being able to take it away on the spot? Preposterous, Jin Zhongming snorted heavily. Lin Yuheng glanced at him indifferently. Do you have an objection? Though seething with rage, Jin Zhongming forced himself to speak respectfully. This junior fully agrees with Commissioner Lin's ruling. The interests of higher-ranked disciples should indeed be protected. What this junior takes issue with is that the merit points of these 3 women should be re-examined for authenticity. As soon as these words fell, many disciples who had been harboring discontent chimed in one after another. That's right, we accept that Fang Chen can complete a heaven-grade mission, but what about them? Unless they are elite disciples secretly trained by the sect, there is absolutely no way they could have succeeded. Even Liu Qingxian was deeply suspicious of this point. She did not know just how difficult a heaven-grade mission was, but she had nearly lost her life completing a mere Earth-grade mission. How could those 3 disciples, who were only at the 5th or 6th layer of the Foundation Establishment realm, with the strongest barely at the 8th layer of Foundation Establishment, possibly Complete a heaven-grade mission. Originally, no one had bothered to pay the three women much mind. At most, they had stolen the spotlight from a few people, but now that they were causing delays and trouble for everyone claiming resources, they naturally sparked widespread collective resentment. Fang Chen shook his head slightly. This farce was truly endless. He had no choice but to cup his fists in salute to Lin Yu, Heng, and say, "Senior Lin, this junior knows the truth behind the three women's merit points. Actually, Lin Yu Heng had also been somewhat suspicious of the three women's contributions. How had three low-ranked cultivators obtained credit for a heaven-grade mission? Fang Chen said frankly, actually, the 1,000-mile vulture escort mission that this junior carried out was a team mission that required the cooperation of 4 people. I chose the 3 of them as my partners, and the mission was ultimately completed successfully. Naturally, they are entitled to a share of the credit." The entire venue fell dead silent instantly. Many elite warriors who had risked life and limb fighting on the front lines felt a surge of fury so strong they nearly spat blood. Damn it! All my months of hard work and bloodshed are worth less than 3 women latching onto Fang Chen's coattails. Junior brother Fang, do you still need female companions? I can join too and snag some heaven-grade mission merit while I'm at it. You're truly shameless. If Fang Chen doesn't mind, even a rough old man like me can act shameless enough to beg for a spot on his team. Who wouldn't be envious of this? A single favor from him had landed them the extremely high 3rd, 4th, and 5th spots on the merit ranking, as well as 400 merit points each. The crowd boiled over with teasing exclamations for a moment, but the previous waves of doubt receded like the tide. Lin Yuheng sized up Fang Chen with an amused glint in her eye and said, "You are truly generous, aren't you? That is a heaven-raid mission we are speaking of, and you just casually brought 3 people along to clear it, asking for nothing in return." She smiled meaningfully. Liu Qingxian immediately pinched Fang Chen's arm hard and said, You had a wonderful time along the way, didn't you? 1 senior sister and 2 junior sisters. How could they not wait on you hand and foot?" She was unfamiliar with Chu Xingmeng and Qin Ke, but she had met Yi Liangxing before and knew the latter was exceptionally striking. Fang Chen coughed lightly, well aware that any further explanation of this matter would only dig him deeper into trouble, so he hurriedly said, "Commissioner Lin, may I select my resources now?" Lin Yuheng covered her mouth and chuckled softly, rising to her feet as she walked into the command post, saying, "Come along." She then added to the disciples behind her, "Furthermore, resource selection is conducted in private. Everyone has agreed to this rule, for no one wishes others to know what precious items they have chosen." Inside the command post, Lin Yuheng took out an array formation that blocked all prying detection, leaving only herself and Fang Chen within its range, before lifting the jade bracelet on her wrist and waving it gently. An intangible spatial fluctuation surged out of the bracelet, and immediately after, as if by magic, a large pile of items appeared in a messy heap at her feet. These are the one-of-a-kind rare resources. There are also vast quantities of medicinal pills, talismans, magical artifacts, and other items stored inside the bracelet. There are far too many to pour out all at once without running out of space, so you may refer to this list. For any non-scarce resources you need, I will take out the corresponding quantity for you. She handed Fang Chen a list. At the very top of the list was impressively the drank spirit pill, the Yuanqi pill, with its marked exchange price of 300 merit points. The reason for its exorbitant price is that the Yuanqi pill is one of the few known spirit pills across the 9 Sects Lands that can assist cultivators in breaking through to the Golden Core realm. It is forged by the Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, and every year, each of the 9 sect patriarchs receives no more than 2 of these pills, a testament to its extreme rarity. Lin Yu Heng's eyes flickered as she said, "Prioritize exchanging for Yuanqi pills, preferably 2. A single Yuanqi pill only has a 30% chance of helping you break through to the Golden Core realm, so 1 is far from guaranteed. 2 will give you a success rate of over 50%. Fang Chen's full attention, however, was not on the list at all, let alone the Yuanqi pill. Instead, he was scanning the pile up unique rare resources. Lin Yuheng spoke in a sincere, earnest tone. "Fang Chen, listen to me. Do not be bewitched by these scarce resources. A martial artist's cultivation realm is the foundation of everything. You are currently stuck at the peak of the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment realm, just 1 step away from Golden Core, yet the gap between the 2 realms is as vast as 1,000 Lai. The chance to form your Golden Core is more important to you than any resource in existence." Given her usual cold and aloof temperament, she would normally never bother to enlighten someone like this. It was only because she had taken a fancy to Fang Chen and considered taking him as her disciple that she was offering him such earnest guidance. Fang Chen cupped his fists in salute and said, I am deeply grateful for your good intentions, Senior Lin, but this junior already has a method to break through to the Golden Core realm. All conditions are met, save for one final missing piece. His eyes lit up with a flash of excitement as he grabbed a fiery red jade box and asked, Senior, how many merit points is this item worth? Inside was none other than a palm-sized, translucent petal. Lin Yuheng was taken aback. What do you want the Nile Lotus petal for? This item is mostly used in pill refining. Fang Chen was overjoyed as he said, This is exactly what I want. I'm so glad I stood my ground and didn't choose those Yuanqi pills. My little over 800 merit points would only be enough for Yuanqi pills, giving me a mere 60% chance of breaking through to Golden Core, but the Kingsu pill refined from the Nile Lotus and 7 colored profound ice guarantees a 100% break through to the Golden Core realm, and even carries a chance of pushing me directly to the second layer of Golden Core realm. The choice is obvious, isn't it? Lin Yuheng was even more astonished, saying, Nile Lotus is almost impossible to find in the mortal world. Even the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion only has this single petal in its possession, and it costs a minimum of 600 merit points. If you exchange for this item, you will completely lose the chance to get any Yuanqi pills. She was truly anxious for Fang Chen's sake. As for the so-called method he spoke of, if such a method truly existed, why would he have been stuck at the peak of the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment realm for so long? 600 merit points was truly no small sum. However, this was the only Nile Lotus Fang Chen could obtain at present. He did not even dare to dream of the large, intact Nile Lotus in Kong Yuanba's possession. Even with the 2 Vice Pavilion Masters of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion present, Kong Yuanba had refused to give face, making it clear that no one could take it from him. I will exchange for this item, Fang Chen said resolutely. Lin Yuheng sighed heavily. Why do you refuse to listen to advice? Left with no other choice, she picked up Fang Chen's merit record, deducted 600 points from his total, and said, You only have 225 merit points remaining now. Having obtained the item he needed most urgently, Fang Chen was quite satisfied. Glancing over the remaining resources, he asked, Senior Lin, I once heard that there is a spatial storage artifact among the reward resources offered by the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion this time. Was that true? Fang Chen's refusal to listen to her advice had left her rather displeased. She snorted softly and said, There is indeed one, but you have squandered your merit points so recklessly. How can you even dream of exchanging for it? It costs 10,000 merit points. How much? Fang Chen felt dizzy for a moment. He had toiled for an entire month and claimed first place on the merit ranking, only to get a little over 800 merit points. At this rate, even if he rushed about non-stop for a full year, he would likely never be able to accumulate that many merit points. What is there to be shocked about? Lin Yuheng said mockingly. Across the entire Nine Sects Lands, there are only 3 spatial storage artifacts in existence. One is this jade bracelet on my wrist, a public storage artifact that can only be applied for when executing important missions for the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. The second is the spatial storage ring belonging to the Pavilion Master. The third is the spatial storage necklace, kept in the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's treasure vault. Even internal members of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion have no chance of exchanging for that spatial storage necklace. Putting it up as a reward so that disciples of the 9 sects can obtain it with merit points has made countless Heavenly Secrets Pavilion members green with envy, and many of them are eager to go out and earn merit points themselves. At only 10,000 merit points, it is an absolute steal for all of you outsiders. Fang Chen rubbed his nose. Though he had expected spatial storage artifacts to be extremely precious, he now realized he had still underestimated their value. No one except the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master owned a private spatial storage artifact. The seemingly outrageous price of 10,000 merit points was actually an enormous welfare measure rolled out by the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion to encourage disciples to fight against the beast. Tied 10,000 merit points were far from matching the true value of a spatial storage artifact. All right, I was only asking, Fang Chen said awkwardly. He was not too disappointed, for even before he asked, he had expected that a spatial storage artifact would not be easy to obtain. He dismissed all thoughts of it immediately. Such an item was absolutely not something he should be coveting at his current level. A little over 200 merit points remained. What should he exchange them for? An object that looked faintly familiar to Fang Chen came into view. It was a round bead the size of a cat's eye, its pitted surface marred with scorch marks and faint, wispy arcs of lightning occasionally sparked off its surface. Was this not the exact kind of heavenly thunderstone that had been dug out from Jin Yunli's abdomen? According to the Black Mirror evil spirit, certain rare heavenly and earthly treasures that draw the fear of the heavenly Tao are struck by tens of thousands of lightning bolts, eventually condensing into heavenly thunderstones. The stone before him was nearly identical to a genuine heavenly thunderstone, save for its negligible, almost non-existent lightning power and its unsightly, pitted surface. "Is this a heavenly thunderstone?" Fang Chen asked in surprise. Lin Yuheng froze, staring at Fang Chen up and down in shock. "You're really something to recognize this even." "But no, this is no real heavenly thunderstone. This is the closest imitation our Pavilion master has managed to create after decades of effort. Unfortunately, true heavenly thunderstones are far from easy to form. Anything that is not a rare heavenly and earthly treasure cannot withstand the bombardment of 10,000 lightning strikes. Over all these years, the Pavilion master has wasted countless precious materials trying." As she finished speaking, she trailed off, a faint expression of complaint still visible on her face. Fang Chen's heart thundered in his chest. The Pavilion master of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had spent decades trying to craft a single heavenly thunderstone. He suddenly felt the heavenly thunderstone in his bosom grow burning hot. He had actually obtained a treasure that even the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion master coveted. He forced himself to remain calm and asked with a feigned look of confusion, "But the heavenly thunderstone is nothing more than a product of 10,000 lightning strikes, a mere stone carrying a trace of thunder power. It only seems useful to martial artists of the true Thunder Sect, does it not? It hardly appears to have any other great use." Lin Yuheng had no idea Fang Chen was testing her. Instead, she took great interest in playing the role of teacher for him and smiled. "You only know one part of the heavenly thunderstone's uses, not the whole. Using its lightning power for cultivation of thunder path techniques is but the most trivial of its functions. Its true purpose is to resist heavenly tribulation. When a cultivator at the 9th layer of Golden Core Realm breaks through to the nascent Soul Realm, a heavenly tribulation descends, its power enough to shatter heaven and earth. Since ancient times, barely 1 in 100 people who face this tribulation survive." A faint flicker of fear crossed Lin Yuheng's face, as if she had witnessed such a scene before. Fang Chen was shaken to his core. Counting even the supreme elders of the 9 great sects, there were barely 100 martial artists at the 9th layer of Golden Core Realm at most. Did that mean it was nearly impossible for even one of them to reach the nascent Soul Realm, and this was only if they possessed the opportunity to break through to nascent Soul? In reality, opportunities to break through to nascent Soul are as rare as a needle in the ocean. Only 1 in 10,000 people ever obtains such an opportunity, and after surviving the baptism of heavenly tribulation, only 1 in a million succeeds. No wonder in the entire territory of the 9 sects, there has only been one heavenly mechanism Pavilion master for countless years. Even he must have relied on extreme luck to make the breakthrough. Lin Yuheng continued, "If our human race can produce another nascent Soul Realm expert, we would no longer fear the Demon Clan of the North. All these years, the Pavilion Master has only been trying to give our human race an extra sliver of chance to produce another nascent soul cultivator." Fang Chen nodded deeply. He thought of the Black Mirror evil spirit. That creature was at the late nascent soul realm, so of course it knew the true use of the heavenly thunderstone, yet it had kept the truth from him all this time. He truly could not believe everything that fiend said. After learning this, Fang Chen's interest in the heavenly thunderstone diminished considerably. Surviving tribulation was far too distant a matter for him right now. Figuring out how to make use of the thunder power within it was a far more practical concern. Lin Yuheng added, "In addition, the heavenly thunderstone is one of the very few naturally occurring spatial storage artifacts." What? Fang Chen's pupils constricted violently. Noticing his unusual reaction, Lin Yuheng paused for a moment, then said, half amused, half exasperated, "What are you so shocked for?" She picked up the pitted, failed imitation heavenly thunderstone and said, "This is just a failed product. Did you think it would be a spatial storage artifact?" Fang Chen quickly hid his strange expression and said, "I was just surprised that spatial storage artifacts can be formed this way." Lin Yuheng explained, "Spatial storage artifacts are generally divided into 2 types. The first type is crafted by human artifact forging grandmasters, who siphon a wisp of spatial power and seal it within an artifact using forging techniques, creating the spatial storage artifact you are familiar with. Their advantage is that the internal space is extremely stable. Unless the artifact suffers catastrophic damage, or the material of the artifact decays after countless years, the internal space will exist forever. Their disadvantage is that the internal space is usually not large. A storage artifact with space the size of this command post is already considered a top-grade item. This bracelet storage artifact of mine is the largest of the 3 storage artifacts in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. It measures 4 zhang in length, width, and height, roughly the size of a thatched cottage, and is already considered an extremely rare mid-grade storage artifact. Fang Chen's mouth went dry, so the other type was naturally formed spatial storage artifacts like the Heavenly Thunderstone. Lin Yuheng nodded. When a thunder tribulation strikes a rare heavenly and earthly treasure, it shatters its interior as well. The power is so tyrannical that it twists the internal space of the object, forming a sealed inner space, thus creating a naturally formed spatial storage artifact. Their advantage is that the internal space is usually very large. After all, a single bolt of thunder stretches hundreds of zhang, so the size of the space formed by crisscrossing lightning strikes is imaginable. According to historical records, the smallest heavenly thunderstone ever discovered had an internal space the size of an entire palace, more than 10 times larger than the space in my bracelet. Their disadvantage is equally obvious: they are unstable. Since the space is carved out by random, unregulated thunder power, there may be spots in the space where only a thin outer shell of the heavenly thunderstone remains, which can be broken with slightest impact. If that happens, the space will collapse. Not only will all items stored inside be lost, but the collapse can easily injure anyone nearby. By this point, Fang Chen could barely contain his excitement, and was desperate to examine his own heavenly thunder stone immediately. After a moment of thought, he asked again, "Then how does one open a spatial storage artifact?" Lin Yuheng glanced at the time, aware that they had delayed for far too long, and that the disciples waiting in line behind them were likely already annoyed. But seeing how eager Fang Chen was to learn, she patiently gave a brief answer. Man-made spatial storage artifacts come with an incantation set by the Forging Grandmaster. No one can open them without that incantation. Naturally formed spatial storage artifacts are even more troublesome. One requires a sufficiently powerful soul force to open them. Afraid Fang Chen would ask more questions, she quickly added, "All right, if you have more questions, come find me later, and I will teach you privately. For now, you should exchange your merit points first." Fang Chen shook his head calmly. "There is nothing I want for the time being. I will save the points and use them next time." Lin Yuheng nodded. "Very well then." Her eyes darted, then she suddenly lowered her voice and whispered, "Work extra hard to earn merit points this month. The next resource distribution will include 3 jade talismans that can unleash a full nascent soul realm strike, each costing only 1,000 merit points." Even she was green with envy at the thought. Not even the deputy pavilion masters had access to such jade talismans, and their requests for them would be denied outright. Yet the pavilion master of heavenly secrets was giving them out as rewards to disciples of the 9 sects, 3 at that. Clearly, the incident where the demon emperor's consort delivered the demon emperor's blood to the front line had enraged him, prompting him to release these talismans onto the battlefield. Your demon clan has the demon emperor's essence blood. We humans have jade talismans with nascent soul strike power. Let's see who dares back down first. Fang Chen's pupils constricted violently. He had witnessed the might of these nascent soul jade talismans firsthand, and the world, annihilating power they wielded, still filled him with awe to this day. To think there would be more in next month's rewards, 3 no less. He had to obtain them, at the very least get his hands on one of them. "Thank you for your care, Senior Lin." Fang Chen cupped his fists in a grateful salute. Lin Yuheng rolled her eyes at him. "If you understood my well-meaning intentions, you wouldn't have insisted on choosing that worthless nihility lotus petal." With that, she fished inside her sleeve, pulled out a small jade box sealed with multiple layers of restrictions, and tossed it to Fang Chen. "Take this vitality elixir. If you had exchanged for 2 of them, plus this one from me, you would have had a 90% chance of breaking through to the golden core realm. But you stubborn brat wouldn't. Listen, with only this one pill, you only have a 30% success rate. Whether you succeed or not is up to your luck." Fang Chen was deeply moved. Lin Yuheng's kindness to him was beyond reproach. This vitality elixir was of almost no use to her, yet the goodwill it carried was heavier than any treasure. He bowed with cupped fists, accepted it solemnly, and spoke after a moment of thought. "Before Senior Lin departs Sunset City, please come to the Wutong Courtyard on Pomegranate Street. This junior has some items he wishes to gift to you." Lin Yuheng smiled. "All right, I'll drop by when I have time." This trip had not been in vain. She had successfully grown closer to Fang Chen. As for the gift he mentioned giving her, why would a prestigious commissioner of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion care about a trinket from a lowly disciple? Fang Chen left the command post. Everyone was queuing anxiously, waiting to exchange for their allocated resources, and no one paid him any mind. That suited him just fine. Fang Chen hurried back to Liu Qingxian's small courtyard and immediately took out the Sky Thunder Stone. Brimming with excitement, he circulated his soul power, directed it towards the sky thunderstone, and barely made contact with it. Fang Chen suddenly felt a massive devouring force pull at him, and his consciousness was forcibly dragged into a dilapidated, crumbling dimension. All around him was impenetrable darkness, so thick he could not see his own hand in front of his face. A thought crossed his mind, and the next instant, the several luminous pearls that should have been in his bosom appeared out of thin air inside this dimension. This was unmistakably the function of a spatial storage artifact. Fang Chen was overjoyed. It really was a spatial storage artifact. Illuminated by the light of the luminous pearls, the space looked like the interior of some kind of spirit fruit. The dark barriers surrounding him bore traces that showed they were once the flesh of the spirit fruit, but had been reduced to charred, rigid spatial walls by the overwhelming power of thunder and lightning. Looking around, the space was as large as the main sect hall of the Azure Cloud sect, measuring 200 zhang in length, width, and height, an extraordinarily vast space. On top of that, for unknown reasons, faint strands of thunder power flickered across the spatial walls from time to time. Fang Chen was puzzled. Could it be that these thunder powers are trapped inside this space and cannot escape? Perfect timing. He was just worrying about where to find large amounts of thunder power to cultivate the third form of the 3 pure thunder shadows cultivation method. This was exactly what he needed, like a pillow being handed to him just as he felt sleepy. After inspecting the space and confirming it was safe, he willed it and all his belongings, including his purple sword spirit artifact, clam meat, rejuvenation elixirs, spirit replenishing elixirs, 3-step drunk poison, gyukin, and more were placed inside. When his consciousness returned to his body, a long, lost sense of ease washed over him. It felt incredible, freed from carrying bags of all sizes, various magical artifacts, and materials. He felt an immense weight lift off his shoulders. It had to be said, spatial storage artifacts were unbelievably practical. He only kept the Aishuang sword, 7, colored profound ice, the Nility lotus petal, and various auxiliary materials on his person. He could finally begin refining the clear void elixir. He immediately adjusted his state to peak condition, preparing to start the pill refining process. Suddenly, the sound of a commotion came from outside the courtyard. "What do you think you're doing? How dare you force your way into my courtyard?" It was Liu Qingxian's voice, furious and shocked. Jin Zhongming responded with a grim, heavy threat. "Every single one of our swords has been inspected, save for Fang Chen's. Whether he is the culprit will be revealed with a single check." Right after that, a cold snort rang out from Kong Yuanba, sect master of the Giant Sect. "This concerns the truth behind the murder of our Giant Sect's Grand Elder. No one is exempt from inspection." Liu Qingxian grew anxious. She spent much time with Fang Chen, so she knew full well he possessed an extremely mysterious sword, wrapped in cloth strips all year round. Once she had accidentally glimpsed through a gap in the cloth that the sword was exactly purple in color. Regardless of whether Fang Chen was the real culprit or not, the color of that sword alone would land him in immense trouble. But how could she stand against the imposing, aggressive forces of the Giant Sect, just as she was about to grit her teeth and draw her sword to fight them head on? Fang Chen's voice drifted out from the courtyard. "Senior sister, let them come in to search." "That is out of the question." Liu Qingxian was frantic. The Giant Sect would never bother with reason. Once they spotted the purple sword, they would definitely seize Fang Chen. With a creak, the courtyard door behind them swung open. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back, his expression calm and unhurried. "Senior sister, there is no need to worry. My conscience is clear, so why would I fear any inspection? If you try to hide and cover for me, it will only make me seem suspicious." Liu Qingxian froze for a moment. Was he truly certain there would be no issues, or had Fang Chen already hidden that sword away? She said uncertainly, "Junior brother, you have no need to fear them." Fang Chen waved his hand, cutting off her words. He turned his gaze to Kong Yuanba and said, "As for the death of your sect's Grand Elder, I am personally willing to cooperate with the investigation. But you are wantonly searching the courtyards of Azure Cloud Sect disciples. Where does that leave the dignity of the Azure Cloud Sect?" Jin Zhongming spoke with murderous intent surging off him. "Who wastes words with you? Go in and search. Dare to stop us, and you will suffer the consequences." The disciples behind him immediately responded, surging forward in a rush to break in. Fang Chen stood expressionless in the middle of the doorway, neither releasing spiritual power nor making any move to defend himself, letting Jin Zhongming's wild buffalo-like frame crash straight towards him. When Kong Yuanba saw this, he immediately shouted to stop them. "Halt." He only wanted to conduct a search, not cause any harm to Fang Chen. If it was truly confirmed that Fang Chen was the murderer of Tai Bubai, Fang Chen would deserve death 1,000 times over, and even the 2 deputy pavilion masters would have no grounds to object. But if Fang Chen was killed without any proof, his own head would roll. "What do you want?" Kang Yuanba snorted. After returning from Tai Lake, he had carefully recalled Fang Chen's account that the man holding the jade talisman had died at the hands of a mysterious, ferocious creature, and he had always felt something was off about it. But he could not pinpoint exactly where the loophole lay. When he learned that an extremely powerful masked young man had once wielded a purple sword, he could hardly avoid connecting Fang Chen, this similarly extraordinarily talented young man, to that masked figure. What was even more of a coincidence was that Fang Chen had been nearby when the jade talisman was activated. That was why, as soon as he heard Fang Chen was not in the square, he mobilized a large force to come here. He already harbored suspicions against Fang Chen. If the investigation proved Fang Chen was indeed the culprit, it would be perfect. First, he would get his revenge. Second, the two deputy pavilion masters would have no objections. Third, he would completely eliminate future troubles. It was simply killing 3 birds with 1 stone. It is very simple. If you want to search our quarters, you must offer a compensation that my sect finds reasonable, Fang Chen said calmly. Jin Zhongming felt a surge of rage when he saw the Fang Chen painted halberd planted in the center of the courtyard, and said coldly, "What right do you have to negotiate terms with us?" "Master, pay him no heed. He is definitely the murderer." Kang Yuanba stared at Fang Chen for several breaths, then nodded slowly. "Fine. As compensation for offending the Azure Cloud sect, I will reward you too with some spirit crystals." Fang Chen casually took out a crystal token with a value of 100,000 spirit crystals, waving it in front of them. "I have no shortage of spirit crystals. Don't bother taking out your Giant Sect's medicinal pills either. I also have no lack of cultivation methods." Kang Yuanba gritted his back teeth slightly, thinking to himself, he rejects all those. Does he want my nihilism lotus instead? That is impossible. I will never give it to him. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he said, "Since you lack none of those, I will give you a quota to join the excavation of an immortal cave abode. Do you want to go?" Excavation of an immortal cave abode? A confused look crossed Fang Chen's face. Jin Zhongming's face changed drastically, and he said, "Master, how can you do that? That is our Giant Sect's precious treasure land. Our sect's supreme secret technique, the Iron Blood Scripture, was discovered right there." What Fang Chen's heart thundered in his chest. The immense help the Iron Blood Scripture had given him was self-evident. At least 30% of his current cultivation achievements could be attributed to this scripture. Only now did he learn that the Iron Blood Scripture was not an ancestral heirloom of the Giant Sect, but had been excavated from a certain cave abode. Kang Yuanba cast a sidelong glance at Jin Zhongming and said, "When have you ever had the right to interrupt the decisions I make as your master?" He then turned his gaze to Fang Chen and said, "As you have heard, this cave abode is nothing short of the birthplace of my Giant Sect. Centuries ago, the founding patriarch of our Giant Sect discovered this place, mastered a great many body cultivation techniques here, and established the Giant Sect on the strength of these arts. No outsider has ever been permitted to enter this secret realm. You and Liu Qingxian are the first. Is this sincerity sufficient to make amends to your King Yan sect?" Fang Chen's heart surged with excitement. This was the very origin of the fortune that had given rise to an entire sect. It was easy to imagine how many heaven-defying treasures had once emerged from its depths. Even so, he remained perfectly calm and asked, "Your sect has been developing this secret realm for hundreds of years. Even broken tiles buried 10 zhang underground would have been unearthed by now. What new fortunes could possibly remain here?" Kang Yuanba spoke domineeringly. "That is hard to say. Our sect's asterisk Iron Blood True Sutra asterisk was only discovered a few decades ago. If luck favors us, who knows what extraordinary treasures we might find at that time. I might even be willing to trade the Void Lotus for it." Fang Chen put on a thoughtful expression. In truth, he truly did want to go take a look. The person who had left behind the asterisk Iron Blood True Sutra asterisk might well have left even more astonishing treasures behind. This was a free opportunity, so why not give it a try? "Where is this place located? Will it delay us from carrying out our mission?" Fang Chen asked again. Kang Yuanba said domineeringly, "It is right within the northern territories, and not far from the frontline battle zone. As long as you accept the frontline combat mission, you can drop by on way." Fang Chen had no further doubts and said, "Very well, I agree, you may conduct your search." He had the little Killen with him. With the little Killen's innate perception of heaven and earth spiritual items, anything that the Giant Sect had failed to detect would hardly be able to hide from its senses. If they did find something extraordinary by then, the Giant Sect would have no one to blame but themselves for their regret. A sharp glint flashed across Kong Yuanba's eyes, and he ordered, "Search." Jin Zhongming immediately led his men excitedly into the courtyard, rummaging through every corner. Every nook and cranny inside and outside the house that could possibly conceal a sword was searched thoroughly. Impossible. Jin Zhongming was certain that the mysterious masked youth was Fang Chen. How could they have found nothing? Dig 3 feet into the ground for me. They actually dug up the ground, rummaging through the soil beneath. Naturally, they found nothing at all. After spending half a full day digging up the entire courtyard inside and out until the ground was completely ruined, there was still no sign of any hidden sword. Jin Zhongming stared fixedly at Fang Chen, unwilling to accept the result. "Where did you hide the sword?" Fang Chen drew the Morning Frost sword from his back and said, "This is the only sword I have. If you are determined to pin a crime on me, then take it. Just dye it purple, that will do, or you can't. Search me if you like. Perhaps that purple sword can be folded up into a tiny ball and stuffed into my bosom." Jin Zhongming retorted, "You think I dare not search you?" With that, he lunged forward. "Enough!" Kong Yuanba frowned and snapped. This was a surprise raid they had launched. There was no way Fang Chen could have hidden the purple sword ahead of time. What is more, they had already dug 3 feet into the ground. If the sword truly existed, they would have found it long ago. It seemed they had indeed accused the wrong person. "We are leaving." Kong Yuanba turned around and ordered. But Fang Chen stopped him and said, "Sect Master Kong, have you forgotten something?" Kong Yuanba's face darkened. Somewhat displeased, he took out a bronze token. "Take it. With this token, you may enter the cave abode at any time, but you may only stay for 1 day." Fang Chen caught the token and said with a smile, "Farewell, Sect Master Kong." He watched as their large procession departed. Fang Chen let out a quiet sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had put all the items into the heavenly thunderstone space in time. If he had not, the consequences would have been unthinkable. "Xiao Chen, you scared me to death just now." Liu Qingxian patted her curvaceous chest, let out a long breath, and chided playfully, "I thought you were done for." Fang Chen quickly made a shushing gesture and said, "Do not mention this matter again. Stand guard for me while I cultivate. I need to break through to the Golden Core Realm." Liu Qingxian nodded subconsciously. "All right. Wait, what did you say? Break through to the Golden Core Realm?" Fang Chen looked confused. "Is that so strange? I have already reached the peak of the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment Realm. What is wrong with breaking through to the Golden Core Realm?" Liu Qingxian was stunned for a moment. There is nothing wrong with that, but she was at a loss for words for a moment. A peak 9th layer Foundation Establishment Realm cultivator breaking through to the Golden Core Realm was indeed the most normal thing in the world, but she could not shake the feeling that something was very odd about this. It was not until Fang Chen closed the door that she suddenly realized what was wrong, but it has only been a few months. He's already forming his golden core. She still remembered that the first time she met Fang Chen was at the Spirit Pond in the City Lord's Manor of Lone Boat City. What cultivation realm was Fang Chen at back then? Merely the 7th layer of the Foundation Establishment Realm. Even when calculated most generously, only half a year has passed since then, yet he is already on the verge of forming his golden core. How many years did Liu Qingxian spend on cultivation before she finally managed to form her golden core with the help of Fang Chen's Kaijing powder? Without that aid, she would still be stuck at the 9th layer of the Foundation Establishment Realm even now. Yet Fang Chen has covered the path that took her several years in merely half a year. Even if he possessed a 9th grade spirit root, this cultivation speed is simply absurd, is it not? Upon returning to his room, Fang Chen did not bother tidying up the mess scattered across the floor. He simply crossed his legs and sat down in a relatively spacious pit. He began refining the Kingsu elixir. 2 hours later, sweat poured down Fang Chen's entire body as a transparent medicinal pill, wreathed in flowing light and brimming with mystic aura, rested in his palm. This was the 4th grade medicinal pill, the Kingsu elixir. Upon consumption, it guarantees a breakthrough to the Golden Core Realm and carries a chance of directly advancing to the 2nd layer of the Golden Core Realm. Brimming with anticipation, he immediately swallowed the elixir. As the medicinal effects took hold, the spirit pond within his dungeon began to shrink rapidly. The large spirit pool shrank to half its size in the blink of an eye, then continued to compress. In mere moments, it was the size of a wash basin, and shortly after, no larger than a fist. The spiritual power within was continuously squeezed as the spirit pond compressed, becoming unprecedentedly dense and solid. When the spirit pond shrank to the size of an egg, it could be compressed no further. The mutually squeezing spiritual power within could not be concentrated anymore, and this was the step where countless cultivators who consumed Origin Kai pills failed their breakthrough. The medicinal power of the Kingsu elixir was extremely domineering. Just as the compression slowed under the effect of its potency, the spirit pond violently shrank with a crisp cracking sound, fully condensing into a round bead the size of a human eye that emanated faint golden arcs of light. This was none other than the source of power possessed exclusively by Golden Core realm cultivators, the Golden Core. At this moment, he had successfully broken through to the Golden Core realm. From a helpless orphan living under the roof of the Liu clan in the beginning, to a Golden Core realm powerhouse capable of holding his own across the Nine Sects continent in the present, he had finally reached this milestone. If his father could see him now, he would surely be proud of him, would he not? Forcefully suppressing the surge of emotions in his chest, Fang Chen circulated his cultivation method, absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy, for his breakthrough was not yet complete. Perhaps because Fang Chen had remained at the 9th layer of the Foundation establishment realm for a long time, laying an exceptionally solid foundation, he achieved the breakthrough easily after only half the medicinal power was consumed. As such, the remaining potency transformed into immense spiritual power that continued to nourish his golden core. As time passed bit by bit, when the last trace of medicinal power was exhausted, the golden core trembled softly with a low hum and suddenly expanded in size by a full margin. He had clearly broken through to the 2nd layer of the Golden Core realm. Ordinary cultivators require at least half a year to break through from the 1st to the 2nd layer of the Golden Core realm. The Kingsu elixir not only allowed him to form his golden core, but also saved him half a year of cultivation, making all the effort he spent obtaining the 7-colored profound ice and void lotus well worth it. It was a pity, though. Fang Chen glanced at the large amount of remaining 7-colored profound ice and the completely exhausted void lotus. Limited by the fact that he only had a single petal of the void lotus, he had only managed to refine 1 Kingsu elixir. If he had an entire flower, he could have refined at least 10, which would have brought enormous benefits whether he gave them to Liu Ruxu and Chen Xiling or sold them for profit. After putting away the 7-colored profound ice, Fang Chen took out the heavenly thunder stone. Gazing at the faint threads of thunder power writhing across its surface, his eyes flashed, and he immediately drew that thunder power into his body. In an instant, that small amount of thunder power had all entered his body, tempering his physique, but this was far from sufficient. With a flicker of his divine sense, he drew out a tiny wisp of the powerful heavenly tribulation thunder remaining within his storage space. Heavenly tribulation thunder was far from comparable to the superficial thunder arcs on the stone. The moment it entered his body, his internal organs were struck with an agonizing, bone-deep pain, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. There was no need to guess. The domineering power of the tribulation thunder had already ravaged his internal organs. He hurriedly swallowed a rejuvenation pill, guiding the excess tribulation thunder into the meridians of both arms, just as he had done when cultivating the Thunder Dragon Lightning Leg secret technique. He had poured thunder power into the blood vessels of his legs back then, after all. Once his internal injuries had healed, Fang Chen drew in another wisp of tribulation thunder. His internal organs were once again subjected to devastating destruction, and the pain made him grimace fiercely. "Is there truly anyone who can master this palm technique?" Fang Chen asked, his face deathly pale. Ordinary cultivators would suffer grievous internal injuries the moment they drew in their first wisp of tribulation thunder, and might not even survive the experience. Only Fang Chen, who had rejuvenation pills on hand, was able to save his life in time. Moreover, this similar process must be repeated no less than 9 times. Aside from Fang Chen, who could possibly have such an abundant supply of rejuvenation pills at their disposal. Even if they did, who would be willing to exhaust every last of them just to cultivate a single cultivation method? Once this wisp of tribulation lightning was successfully refined, he drew in the 3rd strand of tribulation lightning, repeating the cycle continuously. When the 9th strand of tribulation lightning was fully refined, faint threads of lightning power would occasionally surge out and retract from the pores on his arms. He immediately began his cultivation following the *3 pure thunder shadows cultivation method. Not long after, as he struck out with a palm print densely interwoven with crackling lightning shot forth at extreme speed. With a sharp crack, the earthen wall of the thatched cottage was pierced through instantly, leaving behind a charred, palm-shaped hole. Furthermore, the palm print did not lose any momentum, crashing directly into the courtyard wall. Boom. Even the remaining force of the palm print was enough to violently shatter the entire courtyard wall, reducing it to rubble. For a moment, billowing dust blotted out the sky. Liu Qingxian was given a great fright, rushing inside at once and asking with concern, "Zhao Chen, are you unhurt?" Fang Chen withdrew from his cultivation state, rose to his feet, and said, "I was cultivating a cultivation method. My apologies for disturbing you, senior sister." Cultivation method. When Liu Qingxian noticed the scorched black palm print on the wall, she could not help but suck in a cold breath. These were clearly the marks left by a lightning strike. But are lightning path cultivation methods not exclusive to the true Thunder sect? Just as she was about to ask, a shocked cry from Lin Yu Heng came from outside the courtyard. "Fang Chen, what on earth are you doing, making such an enormous commotion?" Lin Yu Heng and Luo Dongcheng stopped at the entrance of the small courtyard, staring at the damaged walls as they exchanged stunned glances. Luo Dongcheng frowned and said, "Commissioner Lin, we are pressed for time. Did you make a special detour just to meet Fang Chen? They have already completed the Sunset City mission. Next, we must rush to the 9 sects to announce the ranking list and distribute the disciples' rewards. Our time is extremely limited and tight." But Lin Yuheng had insisted on coming here for a visit, saying that Fang Chen had asked to see him. Lin Yuheng said, "I will just exchange a few brief words. It will be over quickly." Fang Chen came rushing out upon hearing the commotion, still holding a bag in his hand. When he saw that Luo Dongcheng had also come along, he hesitated for a moment before saying, "This junior did not know Commissioner Luo is also present. Please wait a moment. I have also prepared a gift for you." Luo Dongcheng waved his hand dismissively. "No need, no need. Hurry up and say whatever you need to say to Commissioner Lin. This commissioner's time is extremely precious." He was not like Lin Yuheng, who wanted to befriend Fang Chen. In his eyes, Fang Chen was merely a disciple who had performed somewhat well. What's more, what kind of gift could a low-ranking young disciple possibly give? It would be nothing more than worthless trinkets. He would even consider receiving it a burden. Fang Chen nodded, before exchanging pleasantries with Lin Yuheng. Lin Yuheng sighed again and said, "When I get the chance, I will seek out another vitality pill for you. I will do everything in my power to help you break through to the Golden Core realm." Fang Chen smiled, cupped his hands in salute, and said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, Senior Lin. This junior has already broken through to the Golden Core realm." Lin Yuheng was stunned for a moment, then exclaimed in shock, "You broke through with just one vitality pill? You have such incredible luck. How can I quite believe this?" Theoretically speaking, a single vitality pill does indeed grant a 30% chance of breaking through, but the vast majority of cultivators fail to succeed. Could Fang Chen truly be blessed with such extraordinary luck? She raised her palm, striking lightly towards Fang Chen as she said, "Take this attack." She wanted to test whether Fang Chen had truly broken through to the Golden Core realm. Fang Chen was torn between amusement and exasperation, and could only meet her palm head on. Crack, Commissioner Lin's palm was knocked back, and an expression of utter shock appeared on her face, as if she had just seen a ghost. It was not because Fang Chen had broken through to the Golden Core realm, but because he had reached the 3rd layer of the Golden Core realm. Weren't you at the peak of the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment realm?" Lin Yu Heng felt as if time had gone awry, just like Liu Qingxian had felt earlier. It had truly only been half a day since she had parted ways with Fang Chen. Fang Chen said, "Half a day ago, I was indeed at the peak of the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment realm. Haven't I broken through since then?" What kind of absurd statement was that? For a cultivator at the 9th layer, peak of Foundation, Establishment realm, to break through to Golden Core with a single vitality pill is already an incredibly fortunate event. Who has ever heard of someone breaking through directly to the 2nd layer of Golden Core? Such a bizarre thing was not only unheard of, it had never even been rumored before. She dismounted from her horse in one fluid motion, clamping down on Fang Chen's wrist to sense his meridians, probing carefully with undisguised disbelief. That surging, powerful spiritual power could only belong to someone at the 2nd layer of the Golden Core realm. He had truly broken through to the 2nd layer of the Golden Core realm. Lin Yuheng was utterly shocked. If she had not witnessed Fang Chen fight with her own eyes, and was certain he had only been at the 9th layer of the Foundation Establishment realm half a day prior, she would never have believed that someone could leap from the 9th layer of Foundation Establishment straight to the 2nd layer of Golden Core in one go. Fang Chen laughed. "It is merely luck. Let us speak no more of it. I have delayed Senior Lin's official business." He stuffed a wrapped pouch into Lin Yu Heng's hand, saying, "A small token of my gratitude. Please accept it, Senior Lin." Lin Yu Heng burned to grab Fang Chen and demand every detail of his breakthrough, but the impatient urging of Luo Dongcheng at her side left her no choice. She leaped back onto her horse and spoke with deep, unspoken meaning. Truly, every time I meet you, you leave me stunned. I cannot imagine how much more you will astound me when we next cross paths, so... She whipped her horse forward, and as they departed Sunset City, a heavy weight settled on her mind, and she sighed repeatedly. Fang Chen was so exceptionally talented that his fame would only grow with time. When the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion opened its disciple recruitment, countless forces would have their eyes fixed on him. Her wish to take him as her personal disciple would likely not be easy to fulfill. Commissioner Lin, you are being awfully generous with this Fang Chen, Luo Dengcheng chuckled softly. Not only did you give him your own vital Kai elixir, you even intend to find another one for him. For all that effort, all you get are a few words of thanks and a tiny gift pouch. Hearing the faint note of disapproval in his words, as if he thought her efforts were wasted, Lin Yu Heng could not reveal that she planned to take Fang Chen as her disciple. She could only speak up in his defense. This child is very polite. No matter what he has given, it is the thought that counts. Its monetary value is irrelevant. He offered you a gift just now too, you know. Turning it down so bluntly was rather hurtful to his pride. TCH. Luo Dengcheng was dismissive, making no attempt to hide his contempt. I have traveled countless li, and even my own belongings feel like dead weight. Why would I want worthless trinkets from some random little disciple? Lin Yuheng grew slightly angered. No matter what, Fang Chen had acted out of good intentions. Belittling him so openly was a serious breach of proper decorum for someone of their standing. Oh, of course, Commissioner Luo is fabulously wealthy, are you not? If you do not want it, I do. She did not stand on ceremony, picking up the pouch Fang Chen had given her. It felt surprisingly heavy, far weightier than she had expected, and she had no idea what it contained. Curious, she untied the pouch, eager to see what gift Fang Chen had taken the time to prepare for her. Luo Dengcheng at her side curled his lip, not even bothering to glance at the contents. Even a fool could guess it was some trinket a young disciple thought was precious, but which was nothing more than worthless garbage in the eyes of powerful cultivators like them. What is this? Lin Yuheng let out a soft exclamation of surprise, staring at the pouch full of glistening, translucent spirit meat, a look of confusion crossing her face. She plucked off a small piece, confirming it was demonic beast spirit meat, and not some random, unknown substance, before popping it carefully into her mouth to taste. In an instant, an incredibly pure surge of spiritual power flooded into her golden core, and the barrier to the 7th layer of the golden core realm, which she had been stuck at for years despite consuming countless rare heavenly treasures, showed faint signs of loosening. This is what kind of spirit meat. It is still effective for a late-stage golden core cultivator like me. At her cultivation realm, common heavenly treasures had long since ceased to have any effect. Breaking through required a heaven-defying stroke of luck. Yet this unknown spirit meat had a tremendous effect after just one tiny taste, leaving her so shocked she cried out repeatedly. Luo Dengcheng laughed. Is it really that dramatic? If you want to praise him, go ahead, but there is no need for this charade. He assumed Lin Yuheng was deliberately exaggerating the value of Fang Chen's gift, and found this over-the-top act childish. But when he received no response from Lin Yuheng for a long while, he turned to look, only to see her hurriedly closing the pouch, as if afraid he would see its contents. Luo Dengcheng scoffed in amusement, as if I would covet some little disciple's trash. You think too little of me, Luo Dengcheng. But when he caught a glimpse of a corner of the spirit meat inside the pouch, his face changed drastically, and he cried out, Millennium Spirit Meat. That is Millennium Spirit Meat. How is this possible? Lin Yuheng quickly shut the pouch tight, and strapped it firmly to her body, her face blank as she said, You are mistaken. It is just some worthless small gift. After a brief moment of confusion, Lin Yuheng had realized how extraordinary this spirit meat was, so she had rushed to put it away to keep Luo Dengcheng from seeing it. She had not expected him to spot it, and recognize it anyway. I could not be mistaken. Luo Dengcheng's face was filled with shock. When I was young, I once obtained 200-year-old spirit meat from a rare spirit turtle, which let me break through from the 3rd layer to the 4th layer of the golden core realm. What is in your pouch? I would never misidentify it. It is spirit meat at least 1,000 years old. He clutched his head, utterly stunned. That boy actually gave you an entire pouch of millennium spirit meat. That much is enough for you to break through to the 8th layer of the golden core realm. Only then did he realize that Fang Chen's gift was no dead weight, no garbage. It was a heaven-defying opportunity, the exact kind of fortune every late-stage golden core cultivator dreamed of. Then his face went rigid as he remembered. Fang Chen had offered him a portion of this very same gift just a little while ago, and he had turned it down. The thought of it turned his face green with regret. He gritted his teeth, his old face flushing bright red as he said, "Commissioner Lin, can you come back with me for a moment?" Fang Chen had only offered him a gift as a courtesy to Lin Yu Heng. If he went to see Fang Chen alone, the boy would not even give him the time of day.
Absolutely not.
Lin Yu Heng rejected him without a second thought. Fang Chen offered you a gift out of the kindness of his heart earlier, and you turned your nose up at it. Now that you know it is valuable, you want to run back and beg for it, and you want me to come along. I, Lin Yu Heng, will not stoop to such humiliation. The thought of begging a junior for a gift made Liu Dongsheng regret it so deeply his intestines turned green. He slapped his thigh and said, "I was being arrogant and blind earlier. I beg you, Commissioner Lin, do me this favor and come back with me just one more time." Lin Yu Heng rolled her eyes at him, retorting sharply, "Go yourself if you want. Do not drag me into your embarrassment." Knowing full well he would never get another portion, Liu Dongsheng's gaze shifted to the pouch strapped to Lin Yu Heng's body. "Then can you share a little with me to taste? We have worked together for so many years. You cannot possibly have so little regard for our friendship, right?" Seeing him being so shamelessly persistent in begging for spirit meat, Lin Yu Heng did not know whether to be angry or amused. Had he not turned up his nose at the gift earlier, had he not complained, it was too much of a burden. Why was he begging for it now? She felt immensely satisfied he had it coming for looking down on Fang Chen. Even so, she cut off a small piece no larger than a forefinger and said, "This is all you get. Take it or leave it." Liu Dongsheng held the piece in both hands, unsure whether to laugh or cry for a moment. The breakthrough opportunity that had been within his grasp was gone just like that. All he desired now was to complete the task at hand as quickly as possible, then properly mend his relationship with Fang Chen, win his favor, and beg for a piece of spirit meat for himself. Now, after Fang Chen saw Lin Yu hang off, he did not idle. Instead, he returned to his thatched cottage, closed his eyes, and entered deep meditation. There was still an extremely critical matter he needed to attend to. "I have finally formed my golden core. It is time to visit the Grand Void Ancient Tree," Fang Chen murmured, his tone brimming with profound excitement. For having reached the golden core realm, he could now pluck another soul attack technique that had never existed in the entire Nine Sects continent. As his vision gradually faded to darkness, he once again entered that long, unseen world. The Grand Void Ancient Tree remained as majestic as ever. Standing beneath it, one could crane their neck and still not see its cloud-piercing crown. His gaze landed on a single fruit, within which was sealed the cultivation method he had yearned for ages, the soul secret technique, asterisk, 3 strikes of soul severance, asterisk. He immediately leaped upward. This time, no suppression blocked his path. He caught the fruit with effortless ease, gave it a firm tug, and the fruit broke free, landing right in Fang Chen's palm. The soul attack secret technique, asterisk, 3 strikes of soul severance, asterisk, was of high earth rank. Fang Chen drew in a sharp breath. It was actually a high earth rank cultivation method. Techniques of this tier had never existed in the Nine Sects continent at all, and it was also the most mysterious class of soul secret technique. If he could master this soul attack method, it would be no different from adding another fearsome trump card to his arsenal. Crackle, just then, as if Fang Chen's act of plucking the fruit had triggered a chain reaction, a series of crashing sounds from shaking tree branches rang out. Fang Chen immediately darted aside. With a heavy boom, a stone plate crashed down right where he had been standing, leaving an ankle-deep crater in the ground. Amidst the swirling white smoke, an ancient white jade plate came into view. It was carved with incomparably complex, profoundly mysterious patterns that resembled both a special formation and a ritual sacrifice array. The jade plate was divided into 3 regions, the patterns of each region eventually leading to a thumb-sized hole, and these 3 holes surrounded a smaller eyeball-sized hole at the very center of the plate like stars circling the moon. "What is this?" Fang Chen was stunned. Aside from dropping fruits, the Grand Void Ancient Tree actually dropped physical artifacts too. He picked it up. The moment his fingers touched it, a jolt like electricity flashed through his mind, bringing with it a flood of information. Fate, rewriting Jade Butterfly, high-grade spirit artifact. It can give birth to heaven, penetrating marrow, which allows one to break through to the nascent soul realm. Fang Chen's pupils contracted violently. This jade plate was actually a high-grade spirit artifact, and one that could produce the spirit liquid required to break through to the nascent soul realm, no less. That meant his path to the nascent soul realm was not as hopeless as that of all other golden core realm experts on the Nine Sects continent. This revelation filled him with immense joy. The more he learned of cultivation, the better he understood just how insurmountably difficult breaking through to the nascent soul realm was. The legendary sword King Zhu Qingyong, whose name shook the entire world, had never found the opportunity to make that breakthrough. Even a figure as powerful as the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets had only managed to advance to the nascent soul realm by sheer luck and an immense once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In theory, even peak 9th layer Golden Core realm experts on the Nine Sects continent were far from qualified to form a nascent soul. The birth of a single nascent soul cultivator, like the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets, was already an unimaginable stroke of fortune for the entire continent. A second nascent soul martial artist was almost impossible to appear. Yet Fang Chen, who had only just broken through to the Golden Core realm, already held a clear path of hope to reach the nascent soul realm. However, Fang Chen's excitement did not last long, for a new piece of information left him dumbfounded. Activation requirements: gather the souls of 3 nascent soul realm cultivators, plus a single drop of essence blood from a soul formation realm expert. Fang Chen opened his mouth, unable to find words for a moment. 3 nascent souls. If he had the power to kill nascent soul realm cultivators and seize their souls, why would he even need to break through to the nascent soul realm himself? That was already ridiculous enough, but it also required a drop of soul formation essence blood. What kind of unfathomable existence was a soul formation cultivator? No one even knew for sure if such a being existed in this world at all. Holding the fate-rewriting jade butterfly in his hands, Fang Chen could not bring himself to throw it away, yet saw little use in keeping it either. After a long moment, he let out a bitter laugh. There truly are no shortcuts to breaking through to the nascent soul realm. Every path is fraught with near certain death. He stood there for a long while, then sighed, and finally lifted his head to look at the grand void ancient tree. Vaguely, he spotted another fruit, within which was clearly sealed a bamboo scroll. The Heaven Rank Sword Art *, Great Derivation, Sword Formation *. Once the formation is mastered, it can slay even soul formation cultivators. What? Fang Chen drew in another sharp breath, leaping up excitedly to grab the fruit, only to be pushed back by an invisible suppression just like before. A message appeared in his mind. Only those of the nascent soul realm may pluck this. Fang Chen was practically itching with impatience. A sword art powerful enough to slay soul formation experts when cultivated to perfection. It was unimaginably formidable, yet he could only obtain it after breaking through to the nascent soul realm. You damned old tree, you're doing this on purpose to tease me, aren't you? Angered, Fang Chen kicked the grand void ancient tree, but the next moment, the entire tree trembled and a branch lashed out faster than lightning. Fang Chen reacted quickly, decisively exiting the consciousness space before the branch could strike him, avoiding the lash entirely. Little did he know, a faint, amused curse drifted down from the very peak of the grand void ancient tree. Fang Chen's consciousness returned to his physical body. 2 items now rested in his hands, the * 3 strikes of soul severance * and the fate-rewriting jade butterfly. He tossed the latter directly into his heavenly thunder stone space. He held only the * 3 strikes of soul severance * and began flipping through it. This high earth rank cultivation method's first strike was called Soul Shock Thorn. Its power increased with the strength of the user's soul. Against foes of the same soul strength, it could jolt their soul and inflict minor damage. Against those whose soul realm was 3 full tiers lower than the user's, it could completely annihilate their soul in an instant. Fang Chen frowned. The description was far too general. To grasp the full power of the Soul Shock Thorn, he first had to confirm the strength of his own soul. However, aside from the Soul Tower in the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, which was capable of measuring soul intensity, there were no other suitable locations or magical artifacts that could perform such a test. Testing soul power is an extremely specialized process. Ordinary magical artifacts or forces are completely incapable of measuring the precise strength of a cultivator's soul. Forget it. I will focus on cultivation first. With my soul strength roughly equivalent to that of a 4th rank soul master, the power of the Soul Shock Thorn should not be too weak by any measure. He immediately began cultivating. This was his first time practicing an Earth grade high tier cultivation method. Even with his extraordinary comprehension, he still felt a slight strain. This was even under the premise that he had already cultivated the * Great Ether Soul Art * and had a basic grasp of soul force manipulation. If this technique were given to a complete stranger who had never wielded soul power before, they would likely find it as incomprehensible as heavenly script. Just as he was about to continue his cultivation, a knock came from the door. Liu Qingxian's teasing voice drifted in from outside. Your pretty martial niece is here to see you. Fang Chen's lips twitched involuntarily. He had no choice but to put away the cultivation method and rise to head outside. There, standing gracefully in the center of the courtyard, was Xia Keoj, clad in a new yellow long dress embroidered with clouds and daffodils. Compared to her usual cold, otherworldly attire, her outfit today added a special touch of liveliness and radiance. Martial uncle. The moment she saw Fang Chen, the indifferent, emotionless expression on Xia Keoj's face immediately bloomed into a faint smile of delight. Fang Chen nodded and asked, "Keoj, what brings you here?" Xia Keoj nodded and replied, "Yesterday, most of the disciples returned to Liumu City to exchange their rewards. So the beast tide took the opportunity to intensify its assault on the defensive line. A small number of powerful demonic beasts broke through the perimeter. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion has therefore issued an emergency mission. Slaying 5 beast kings at the front line counts as one mystic grade mission. The more you kill, the greater the reward. Jin Zhongming, Liang Feiyan, Hua Zhangchen, and the others already set out bright and early." Pausing for a moment, Xia Keoj gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and said softly, "When will you depart, martial uncle?" "I will go with you." Fang Chen was stunned. Was the situation at the front line already so severe they had even issued an unlimited mission? In the past, missions were counted individually. No matter how excellently you completed them, you could only get credit for one. Now things were different. As long as your strength was sufficient, the more beast kings you killed, the more first-grade missions you would be credited with. Naturally, whoever reached the front line first would reap far greater rewards. Fang Chen immediately felt immense confidence from the 3 jade talismans in his possession that could unleash a full-strength strike from a nascent soul realm cultivator. He was just about to nod in agreement when he paused and shook his head slightly, saying, "Your martial uncle has other matters to attend to first. You go on ahead. Once I arrive at the front line, I will find you." A flicker of disappointment crossed Xia Keoj's dreamlike, stunning jade face. Last time she had excitedly invited Fang Chen to travel together, he had a female companion with him, and it was the same this time. She glanced at Liu Qingxian, who was known as the most beautiful female disciple among the 9 sects, said nothing more, cupped her fists in salute, turned and left the courtyard, mounted her spirit horse, and vanished in a cloud of dust. Liu Qingxian curled her lips, looked away, then turned her gaze to the pensive Fang Chen, saying huffily, "What? You feel bad for her. Why don't you go after her? Be careful, she cries her heart out all alone." Fang Chen laughed in spite of himself. "I'm not thinking about her. I was wondering whether I should bring you along with me to the birthplace of the Giant Sect. If there are any good opportunities there, we can share them, but given how overbearing the Giant Sect is, it's hard to guarantee we won't get into conflict with them on this trip." Realizing Fang Chen was actually thinking about her, she felt a secret rush of joy, her face immediately breaking into a bright, sunny smile. She happily wrapped her arm around Fang Chen's, leaning half her weight against him, and said softly, "Thank you for thinking of me. However, I don't plan to go to the front line for now. Yesterday, I exchanged for a cultivation method that suits me perfectly. I want to cultivate it first and raise my strength before heading to the front. You're getting so powerful, while I'm still stuck in place. If I don't work harder soon, I won't be worthy of you." She raised her hand, cupping Fang Chen's cheeks, and said, "Be extremely careful when you're alone at the front line. I would rather put myself in danger than hear even a single piece of bad news about you." He felt the soft warmth of her body pressed against his arm, and heard her heartfelt, concerned words. Fang Chen thought back to when he first met Liu Qingxian. She was so proud and arrogant. Now, for his sake, she showed this uniquely gentle side of herself. His heart stirred, he lowered his head and pressed a soft kiss to her red lips, saying, "I will come back to you safely." Liu Qingxian was caught completely off guard, her face instantly flushing as red as rouge. She hurriedly covered her face and ran into the thatched cottage, her back to Fang Chen as she scolded coyly, "It's broad daylight. You have no shame." But then she remembered that she had been the one to kiss Fang Chen first, and she grew even more unbearably shy, stamping her foot as she said, You leave right now. Don't delay my cultivation." There was no sound outside. She turned around to look, but Fang Chen was already nowhere to be seen. Had he really left? Liu Qingxian bit her red lip lightly, her face full of resentment. Suddenly, she noticed something pressed under the stone table in the courtyard. She walked closer to take a look, and found 2 already completed sword scriptures. One was the asterisk dragon seeking scripture asterisk, a mystic, grade high tier heart cultivation method, and the other was asterisk sword heart meteor engraving asterisk, a sword art with earth, grade power. Liu Qingxian's beautiful eyes shone. She grabbed them immediately and held them tightly to her chest, her face overflowing with endless shyness. Fang Chen only passed these cultivation methods to his own women. The previous 2 people who had cultivated these techniques were Liu Ruxu and Chen Xiling, and she was the third. This meant Fang Chen had truly accepted her into his heart.